Y'all gon' shoot, I'ma smoke today. Ride to some TRAV, give me dap if you high. Took that motherfucker to the side when you pull up. Double me, you know I hit the tide when you know what. Van, mission, lie to me, cause my bitches hit the switch. Pull up, I'ma smoke today. Ride to some TRAV, give me dap if you high. Took that motherfucker to the side when you double me, you know I hit the tide when you know what. Oh, I can't see each other. What happened to me? Unwind, I'm seeing Southern. Kidnapping the G, she won't coke and good religion. To me and Ali, without that guilt in my reach, I can't quit talking to me. Oh, I can't see each other. What happened to me? Unwind, I'm seeing Southern. Kidnapping the G, she won't coke and good religion. To me and Ali, without that guilt in my reach, I can't quit talking to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Some motherfucking doghouse.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hello. Flip this on over. Hi. For those who don't know who I am, which is quite a few of you sometimes, hello, my name is Super Trav Travioli. If you're feeling spicy, some people just like to call me Trav. This is TravTalks. This is TravTalks. I am so selfish, I had to put my name in the title. Modern content creation. How y'all doing? I'm so happy to see you. We got some follows earlier. Thank you for those follows and the resub, Alex. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Welcome in, everybody. I'm really excited for our guest tonight. For those who don't know what TravTalks is, we have a couple of things here. Thank you for the follow. We have right here, we've got, this is where we talk about it. We talk about stuff. Trav talks. And it's not just me talking in this scenario, it's actually everybody talking. We also have Trav Chat here. Hey, no worries. I appreciate you following. If we are talking in chat during the interview portion, don't worry. I promise I'm not ignoring you. We may or may not address it right away. And of course, I have my mods checking it out and making sure that any questions that we may not get to, we get to later in the Q&A, because there's a Q&A. Pretty dope. Trav talks every stream, you know. Anything I talk too much, and then I'm like, oh, I can't believe just chatting was my top thing. Crazy. But very excited for our guest this evening. As always, we are going to respect our guest. We're going to respect our guest's pronouns, and we're going to respect everybody's pronouns here. I saw somebody redeemed a pronoun check earlier. Exclamation point pronouns if you want to use the plugin, as well as my pronouns are he, him. And we will see you. Your pronouns in chat if you'd like to put them in there. Pronouns are a personal journey, and you don't have to tell anybody anything if you don't want to. They're your own thing. Skip that space there, Bree. Almost had it. Oh, so close. But I'm going to unmute our guest, and they're going to be a voice in the sky. Tabby?
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Let's flip it on over to the interview mode. Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to see you. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We're here with TravTalks. How much do you know about TravTalks?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I know you've interviewed some streamers that I like. The last one was Ari, because I think you all rated into me after you had your interview with her.
I think we might have.
I think you did. Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah. Yeah, that was a while ago. I took a good long hiatus on TravTalks. Not for really any other reason other than I had multiple people either ghost me or big time me. I had somebody big time me. Like your channel's too small for me to have come on your show. I was like, okay.
Rude.
Okay.
Jeez.
I did have one person, and this was I reached way out of my sphere for this one. I just went all the way out, and they sent me hourly rates. I was like, no.
Oh.
I'm gonna send you some Skittles because that's not happening. Like, but this is our guest. I want everybody to say hello, as well as why don't you introduce yourself? I mean, I can talk about you, but I want you to talk about you.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay.
But my real name is Tabitha, but everyone calls me Tabby. I'm a chatty variety streamer. I play video games. I do arts and crafts. We occasionally unbox Pokemon cards. And yeah, we're just a really chaotic but kind and caring community.
Heck yes. Heck yes. And when abouts did you start streaming and like making content?
I've been streaming for about 3.5 years now. My 4-year anniversary is in July. It was recommended by my wife She just thought it would be fun and that I'd be really good at it.
Hmm.
But I kept turning it down for a long time because I'm very, very shy. And I'm very introverted. So I was
Yeah.
terrified to, just be out there on camera. So when I originally started, I did streams with my sister for the first few months.
Oh, cool.
Just to keep me comfortable. So she would be on cam with me and we'd kind of banter back and forth. And
Hmm.
eventually we kind of did our own separate streams afterwards once we both got kind of confident.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I also started with a buddy of mine with Tank Bros. And that was actually episode 1 of TravTalks this season, if we want to call it that. Let's call it that. And yeah, there's something to be said about like just getting that immediate feedback from somebody talking back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and just going on cam by yourself, I think it's really brave for people that just start off streaming alone.
Hmm.
Because I was nervous even to be on camera with her. So
Yeah. Yeah. Were you like, did you do like performing or like choir, orchestra, any type of things like that before you did content creation?
like that, I've always been really shy.
Mhm.
I've always just been kind of like a shy little nerd. So I mean, I made friends with people playing games online like World of Warcraft and things like that.
Hmm.
But I've always been very shy into myself.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what gave away the nerd thing. It couldn't
Couldn't
possibly
be anything back here.
No. No, you know, maybe it was the dragon from the Dragon Balls. Could be the Cubone. I don't know. Lots of. So you started just playing video games. Video games like always been a part of your life?
Yeah, ever since I was a kid. I was bullied a lot, so I kind of used to use video games and books as kind of like a way to, I guess, like escape everything and just, I was always kind of to myself, so I was always playing a game on my Game Boy or reading a book.
Okay. What can you remember some like your early faves?
My really favorite video games?
Yeah.
Probably Mario 64. N64 was like, and Game Boy Color were like my top things. So
The jam.
yeah, Mario 64, Smash Bros, GoldenEye 007, all the old Pokemon games.
Okay.
I was a big Nintendo kid.
Yeah, Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, Pokemon Stadium.
Oh yeah, the mini games. I love the mini games.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had, I don't know if you had the little plug-in that you could like play like your Game Boy, but like on
Oh,
the.
like put your own Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, that was
That
always
was a cool feature.
love the N64. Glad they brought it the weird emulation thing for the Switch. It just like so convenient,
Yeah.
Okay, so always Nintendo. Nintendo was the
Yeah.
jam.
Well, I did play a lot of PlayStation games, but on the PC.
Oh, okay.
So I played like Soul Reaver and Tomb Raider, and games like that just on PC.
Okay. And like, is that kind of the direction you started taking like as you grew older? Was it like I'm gonna keep every single possible game that I can, or?
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of branched out to games that I play, so I still predominantly like a lot of Nintendo stuff, but I really started branching out into more like PlayStation games and PC games. When I found World of Warcraft, that really got me into PC gaming.
Yeah. I mean, World of Warcraft was still is, but like was this huge thing
Yeah.
and brought a lot of people together. They had like, that's what created like BlizzCon and all those big things. I thought that was so cool to see this just thing that you didn't think would happen, because like couch co-op was always the way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had your GoldenEye and you had your Smash Bros and you like played those with your buddies, but it means you had to also have buddies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're really, really, really shy, and your wife said, "Hey, you should really get into streaming."
Yeah, just because I really like video games, I love anime, and I'm friendly. So she thought that, it would work out better maybe online. And I was shy at first, and I'm still shy outside of my own stream, but definitely streaming kind of helped me break out of my shell
Mhm.
in general. Like even IRL, I'm a little more social now.
Yeah, yeah, and like, how long would you say that kind of took you to get to that point? Almost.
Oh, it took me a couple years.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Well, you said your 3 year was coming up. You said
My 4 years coming up.
4 year. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
4 year coming up, and so two-ish years maybe to really feel yourself, get into that flow almost.
Yeah.
I remember you just saying like right before we hopped on here was you were like, I'm kind of nervous. Like, what are people gonna say? What's it gonna be like? Uh, yeah, and I definitely remember in the Tank Bro days of just like that instant feedback of like having somebody there next to you. If I say something funny, I know it was funny because they're laughing. I don't have to wait the
Yeah.
couple of seconds to get the little LULs in chat, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good. It was good. All right, cool. What did you what did you start out kind of playing like on stream? What was like the go-tos?
We started with the classic Sega, like the Sega Mini with all the classic Sega games, and then it was like the little NES classic. Like we kind of just played classic games together. I'm not an FPS person, but my sister is like a big Call of Duty person.
Okay.
So I did play Call of Duty co-op with her a lot too.
Okay. Okay. And you did like couch co-op type stuff like together?
Yeah. Our stream setup used to just be like a cam with our couch and like one little LED strip sitting on the back of the couch to make it look a little fancy.
Right, gamers, of course.
Yeah.
Gamer status all day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that like classic early Tank Bros was exactly that too. Did you also have just one mic?
Yeah.
Oh
mhm.
yeah. What do you mean 2 mics? I can't afford that. No, that's awesome. And so you just like kind of that variety, kind of whatever you felt like.
Yeah.
A little more of the classics
Mhm.
on the retro side of things, maybe a little bit. Now you've kind of evolved. I mean, you've definitely changed. You have definitely more like image, and you have your games that you like always stick to.
Sort of.
Sorta.
I do a lot of Pokemon content at least once a week. I do World of Warcraft every Wednesday. But other than that, it's a lot of variety gaming. I'm playing a lot of games I either didn't get to play as a kid or didn't get to finish as a kid.
Yeah.
And I started doing art streams the past like year and a half or
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I was gonna ask about the art streams, because I feel like art can be similar to like music or any sort of like art thing. It's such like a personal part of you,
hmm
and to be able to like share that takes a ton of confidence, or at least like just guts.
Yeah, definitely. But it's been a lot of fun. I actually never painted before I started painting Pokemon cards on stream.
Really?
And I've just kind of slowly, just like naturally improved.
Yeah. So what was it? Just like, I'm already interested in Pokemon, this is something that I want to try?
Yeah, I've been collecting Pokemon cards since I was like 10.
Mhm.
But again, it was my wife's suggestion that I paint Pokemon cards. She saw that and was like, "You're artsy. You should try this." And yeah,
Okay.
so I did, and it's been kind of a big hit. Like with the streams, everyone seems to like the Pokemon card art streams. So.
Yeah. And do you feel like and this is something I ask of a lot of content creators, is do you feel like when you try something new, do you like, for lack of a better term, do you like focus on the numbers? Is it something that you even think about anymore? And you've been doing it for almost 4 years, so.
Yeah. I try not to focus too much on numbers. I did for a while, but it could really be like hurtful to your mental health to make that like your main focus. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't look at my numbers either, because I mean, they do kind of matter as you kind of grow, just to see like if there's any growth there, if maybe I need to do something better to like, you know, get a little more growth, that kind of thing. But while I'm streaming, I don't have my number count on.
Same.
Just because I notice that it will stress me out. So if the numbers get super high, I'll be like, oh my God, there's like 40 people looking at me. But if they're super low, then like my feelings are hurt because I'm like, damn, no one wants to watch me, you know? So I'd rather just wait. And then when I go to raid out, like usually it's like a nice surprise, like, oh wow, this many of you wanted to hang out, you know, while I was doing this. But yeah, it's really helpful to just not even look while you're live.
Yeah, I that's something that I give to, that's like my one little piece of advice, because obviously every journey is wildly different, right? But I'm always like, turn that viewer count off, because I'm the same way. I'll say a joke and then I'll look over at it and then the number will go down and I'll be like, no. Like,
oh no.
You know, like it got in my head so much while I was streaming. And like I would like attempt sometimes to like make a joke about it or like kind of weave it in somehow, but like it just gets in your head so easily.
Yeah, and I've noticed like I started turning off my numbers like just under 2 years ago, and I've noticed that it's really helped me focus on who's there and just having a good time with the people that are there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a big piece of, at least with live streaming, right? Because you're trying to interact with this audience, and this audience they brought to you their viewership and their personalities, and they're trying to get a read on you, and you're trying to kind of get a read on them. Definitely. And like when that number like is up in the corner and just like keeps fluctuating or whatever, and you're like,
yeah,
did I say the wrong thing? Did I, you know? It's like, oh no, that couldn't have been offensive. I wasn't making fun of anything, you know, like, at least that was always my anxious thought process. I don't know about yours.
Yeah. No, I'm like that too. I overthink everything. I'm very anxious. So yeah, if I'm looking at the numbers, I always wonder like, what did I say? What did I do? But I think numbers just fluctuate sometimes, especially like when you get rated. Another thing is like, don't get your feelings hurt too much if a lot of people leave after you get rated, because a lot of times people are tired. They don't feel like checking out a new streamer. Maybe your streams aren't their cup of tea, and that is totally fine. Yeah,
absolutely. It's when you get rated, like some people are rating to support the previous person.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, yeah, like I would love to have you, but of course, like maybe the last streamer that you're with is a quiet, you know, very, very soft, you know, almost ASMR style, and then they come into my stream and I'm yelling about dicks or something, you know, and and it's just like, all right, like I get it, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I have to warn raiders when they come in. Like, everyone's really kind and we're very like mental health positive and caring with each other, but it's also very like degen chaos, and not everyone's like okay with that. So I'm like, just to let you guys know.
Right. Yeah, it's like don't expect expert gameplay. I'm okay at video games. I'm pretty good, but like, so, but I'm not, you know, doing these 360 no scopes or whatever, like those crazy. It's impressive. I'm always impressed when people can do it, but I can't do that and think of jokes and like provide
Yeah.
that. When you think of like your kind of like brand or your kind of like image or whatever, do you feel like it's like evolved? Has it kind of stayed like maybe in this like in a zone, this little pastel goth zone? Where have you seen yourself grow?
I mean, it's been most of the same. A lot of it was like metal. I brought in a lot of metalheads, my sister and I, just because she had a name referencing Judas Priest. My name's referencing Black Sabbath, so that was kind of like the main thing.
Totally.
And I'm very much like a Halloween everyday type of person. So when I started putting like overlays, they always had like cute little pumpkins and stuff like that. And then one day I was like, I need a name for my community. A lot of people have like, you know, little names for their community. And I thought, what about the pumpkin patch, since it's always Halloween here? And yeah, it just kind of went from there. So thank you. But yeah, it's pretty much been that style the whole time.
Okay, yeah. Absolutely. Halloween every day. Was that and has that been since you were also like even young?
Yes. And it's weird because I grew up in like a really religious environment that was like very anti that stuff. But for some reason when I was a kid, I was always super drawn to like spooky stuff and like Halloween stuff. My favorite cartoons were like the Addams Family cartoon, the Beetlejuice cartoon, stuff like that. So I've just always kind of loved Halloween. And then when I moved out on my own, every year I would scour the stores for Halloween decorations for year round. So yeah, it's kind of always been like that with me.
Oh yeah. There's we have the Nightmare Before Christmas masks on the wall. We have bats all over the place.
Awesome.
Some pumpkins. There's a ghost up in the corner. Yeah, always Halloween around here too. So I feel that. Have you noticed that with other people too? Like if they grow up in a very like strict or very like rules driven place, they tend to just like totally kind of splinter off.
It's it's not the same for everyone, because I do know some people kind of just stay with that.
Right.
But I have noticed that I feel like everything that they try to repress is like things that you want to experience when you get older. So I think that's kind of maybe where that comes from.
Yeah. And I mean, it clearly happened with you too. Like you were like, you're like, well, if tattoos and gothic stuff and Halloween's not allowed, I'm gonna head that exact direction. 100%. Yeah. I think I would be covered in tattoos if I didn't have a fear of needles. Unfortunately. But yeah, so do you feel like when you are when you were growing into yourself, like it was this evolution? Was it just like a light switch?
I don't know. Ever since I was a teenager, I really was into like, I got into metal and I liked just like, I wanted to wear all black and things like that. But my parents were really strict. So there was a lot of stuff I couldn't wear, a lot of stuff I couldn't listen to. I just had to get creative with hiding places in my room for all my band shirts and my CDs and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What was one of the spots?
Under my mattress.
Okay, classic.
But my mom found that spot. I used to tape CDs to like the ceiling of my closet.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I knew they'd get taken away and thrown away.
Wow, they'd full on toss them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They found my stash one time and they literally broke all my CDs in front of me while I cried. So I know.
I'm gonna cry. That's a lot of
Yeah, especially when you're like 16.
Oh yeah, that's your life.
Used to, like, yeah, and like I had a job, so I used like most of my money towards like music. So
100%. Yeah. Oh, in front of you. I love the idea of like taping it to the ceiling. That makes me laugh a lot. Yeah. Do you remember some of the early bands that you liked?
Yeah, I started my first metal bands were probably Guns N' Roses and Ozzy, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, like pretty much the classics, Judas Priest, a lot of hair metal because my parents were into hair metal when they were younger. That was kind of like my introduction to like cheesy hair metal.
But like you said they were like strict and kind of religious, right?
Okay, it's kind of wild, my parents' story. Like, to kind of summarize, so my parents met because my dad was a drug dealer and my mom and her friends would buy from him.
Sure.
And they went through all this crazy stuff, and basically the house got raided while my mom was pregnant with me. And they illegally raided it. They didn't have a warrant, so all the charges got dropped. But when they did go to jail, they were like, they basically prayed and were like, if we get out of this, we're gonna go full like religion. And when the charges got dropped, they went like super hardcore Christian, and then they got like super strict. They went complete 180. Yeah.
So now they listen to like Winger.
They do though.
I knew it. I knew. It's religious hair metal.
It's Striper.
Yeah, that was the other. I was like, there's like two more. I'm thinking Jars of Clay. It's another one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's that's so interesting. Like it's really that full 180, but you got to take that kind of other side.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, I like the stuff before, maybe not the drugs part, but like the other stuff, like the metal concerts and the image. No, hair metal's great. Hair metal's awesome.
Yeah, that was like my introduction. But then I basically went through all the genres. Like I got into death metal and black metal and thrash metal. So I pretty much like it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, have you noticed this, like, I almost guarantee you have, because you are a female presenting person in the metal scene, the crazy elitism that just like
yeah,
it's awful.
Yeah, especially in high school, guys will see you in a band shirt and feel the need to quiz you, name 10 songs. I'm just like, dude, I know more than you, trust me. Like,
right. And also, like,
yeah.
What's the purpose of this? Like, what are you testing for?
It's that weird mindset. Same in the video game industry as well.
Yeah.
Guys have this weird, some men have this weird mindset that women do this for attention.
Oh yeah.
They listen to metal because they want guys to like them. They like anime because of that. It's like they think that women's lives revolve around men liking them, and I'm just like, sir, I'm gay. Like, take a step.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's such this weird. I don't understand. Like, I remember being in high school and like finding people, and it was more like this disbelief that women were into the same things that I was into. It was awesome because I was like, well, now that just makes you like this much more attractive to me. But it was more like, oh my God, I can't believe it, versus like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And let me start quizzing and finding out.
I think one of the most annoying ones, I had this guy put his headphones on my head and like try to casually be like, hey, do you know where this guitar riff is from? And like because there was a guitar solo happening in the song. He's like, do you know where this guitar solo is from? And like puts it on my head all casual. And I was like, yeah, that's Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. Why? And he was like, oh, you actually knew that? And I'm like, so you were trying to just test me? Like, that's weird behavior.
It's weird behavior. It's weird. Fellas out there thinking about doing that.
Yes.
Don't
do it.
Don't. It's weird. It's just like that. for me, it was that disbelief, the initial disbelief of just like, I understand like this is like this super, like if I'm like talking about like I don't know, like the Tales of series, like it's this kind of nerdy anime RPG. So like when I find somebody else who's into it, it's more just like this disbelief originally. It's like, what do you mean? Wait, you know, like more of that versus like, well, I don't believe you, therefore I'm gonna try and set you up to fail. And it's like, yeah, well then I gotta ask now, like Megadeth or Metallica, I gotta do it now.
That's kind of rough because
It's fair.
okay, so this is like a hot take for me when it comes to metal, but I feel like Metallica is very mid and they're
Sure.
very overrated to me. Like they have good music that I like,
Sure.
but I also feel like they're extremely overrated and there are a ton of thrash metal bands that I would much rather listen to. So I'm probably gonna say Megadeth just because I don't know, I feel like their music's just a little bit better. But I have to be in the mood for it because Dave Mustaine's kind of whiny for me.
I
don't like that whiny voice sometimes.
I think it's more fun to make fun of, I think.
I feel like the best answer when people say Megadeth or Metallica is Slayer.
Another one of the big four. Yeah, absolutely. That I don't know. Dave Mustaine's fun to make fun of with the hello me, you know, like
Yeah.
and I'm like, and no one in the studio was like, Dave, that's stupid. Stop it. Like, he's like, no. Yeah, it's like a weird character.
I'm pretty sure he's kind of a diva though, so they're probably afraid to tell him.
Oh, you know what? That's probably it. Yeah.
I heard he's really mean.
That dude is like cycled through a million band members, right? He's like Axl Rose almost.
Yeah.
It's just a laundry list of band members. Yeah. See, I feel like Metallica is a great starter band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they got some good tracks that if you're just getting into metal and you're starting to like look for things, like it's a great place to start.
And
It's
Ride the
accessible.
Lightning is a really great album though.
Oh, fantastic. Cover to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like if you're more into the thrashy earlier stuff, then 100%. It's a great starter band. And then you go and then you're like, no, I'm gonna find stuff that's better. Right. Who are some of your favorites now?
Oh gosh. Well, Ozzy's my favorite and Black Sabbath.
All
hence
time.
the name.
Of course.
My favorite is probably just classic metal in general. Judas Priest is my favorite metal band. I think Rob Halford has the best voice in metal. I love Dio. I love Iron Maiden, but I also like a lot of German thrash metal, like Creator, Sodom, Destruction. I like a lot of black metal.
Yeah.
I've been to Norway for a black metal festival before, which was really awesome.
That's not Wacken, is it? Or is that the other one?
No. Wacken is in Germany.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, this one's called Beyond the Gates.
I don't think I've
And
heard
we
of
got to see a band called Emperor, who's never played in the States before, so that was really awesome. And I like a lot of death metal. I just saw Cannibal Corpse recently.
That's dope. That's dope.
A little bit of everything.
So a touch of everything.
Yeah.
Are you into the kind of, did you ever go in the metalcore route at all?
No.
Less
but
so,
I
okay.
don't judge people that like metalcore, but I don't like new metal or metalcore very much.
Not even
But
new
I
metal?
still think no, but I still think it's a valid metal genre. I
Yeah.
don't like those elitist metalheads that say, "Oh, like core sucks," and like I don't like that.
Right.
I think it's a valid genre, and if you like metalcore, that is totally cool. But it's just not my style.
Like everything is just a branch of everything else, you know? Like someone like heard metal and wanted to add like more dirty, screamy vocals to it. And so you got like hardcore, you know, like it's all like this just kind
Yeah.
of blending of everything and branches of everything. And then like people are like, oh, well, I want to do metal, but I want to have like a female lead. So, and then people are like, that's not real metal. It's like, ugh, golly.
That's so silly. Like, something I love about metal is, you know, it started in the late 70s, but it is so diverse now. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many genres and then subgenres of those genres, and I just think that's really awesome.
Yeah. And getting like like if you listen to like really early Black Sabbath and stuff, like the Paranoid album, right? Like compared to like stuff today, people are gonna be like, this is like kind of light, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but at the time, everyone was like, this is so loud and heavy, right? It's
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the period that it's from. It's something
Yeah,
I really appreciate.
they would. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
They would perform the song Black Sabbath, and it scared the shit out of people.
Right.
You know, Black Sabbath scared the heck out of people when they came out, because people were like, oh my God, this is so satanic. But it's like, just wait about 30 years.
Yeah.
And see how satanic metal gets.
Right.
Wait till black metal comes out.
Yeah, just listen for Slayer. You know, they'll be around in like 15 years or so. Yeah, it's very interesting to see like the evolution of it, and just on behalf of metal dudes, like, sorry that some of them are like that.
Yeah, the metal community is kind of wild for women. It's gotten better.
It has gotten better.
Better-ish, I say, because we still get like heavily sexually harassed at metal shows.
Yes.
I call them ninja gropers. If I want to be in
okay.
the crowd and enjoy the band, I have to expect that some asshole is gonna grab my ass. My tits have been grabbed in the pit. Like,
Oh yeah.
I've been like super violated before when I got separated from my partner at a metal show. Yeah, it's scary for women, and it's like we want to be in the crowd and
Right.
enjoy it like everybody else, but we also have to make sure we have someone with us to kind of like, usually a man with us, to kind of help shield us from people you know, getting a little too touchy.
Yeah. And like I think I've actually told this to the Super Friends before. This one time my partner and I were at a show, and this guy was like, specifically, like, we were on the edge of the pit because my partner is 5'3", so it's kind of the best place for her to see. But she's, you know, good at doing like the arm bar, and like, you know, if you're like, I'm not trying to get into the pit, just, I know you're gonna run into me, but like, stay over there. But this guy kept going up and specifically like falling into female presenting people. And at one point he fell and grabbed like her strap and ripped it. And like I had enough at that point.
Yeah.
And so like I was like checking to make sure she was okay first. Like, are you hurt? Do we need to like throw my coat on you? Like, are like, what's going on? And before I like looked back to see where that dude had gone, luckily, I looked over and I found him, and this one guy had this guy full on headlock and was just, I couldn't hear it because we were at a show, but just screaming at him.
Nice.
I just watched it, and I was like, okay, I think he might be taken care of, because it wasn't even a security guy. Like, it was just some other guy.
Oh, well, good for him.
And I'm like, all right, at least they're, like you said, there's like a little bit of getting better, but there's definitely still a lot of improvements to be made.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of improvements. What was your last show, and what was one of your favorite shows that you've been to?
Oh, wow. Well, my last show was Cannibal Corpse. They played with Mayhem.
Ooh.
That was
Love
pretty
Mayhem.
recent. Yeah, that was pretty recent. Favorite show? Dang. I have a few favorite shows. When I got to see Black Sabbath for the first time, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Metal Festival we went to was really epic just because it's a band that I never thought I would ever see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the funnest shows I've been to was Municipal Waste. They're a thrash metal band.
I know that.
They played on my birthday one year. Yeah, they played on my birthday one year, and it was such a fun night. The pit was super fun. I got to crowd surf and like chant with everyone to the songs, and
Right.
there were beers flying all over the place. It was just a really great time. They're a really fun band to see live.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have also seen Municipal Waste. Who were they playing with? Like go through the annex. That does sound fun though. So that was on your birthday, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, that just makes
And
the
then
show that much better.
Another birthday year, I saw Judas Priest in Vegas, and we were right up front, and it was amazing. Rob Halford live, his voice sounds just as good as it does.
Oh, yeah.
Like on records, like he is so amazing.
And it's
Such a
crazy.
good
Dude's like
show.
80.
Yeah, but his voice is just amazing.
Yeah, he kills it. Kills it. Absolutely. Judas Priest, one of the favorites of the, I guess we'll call them old school bands.
Yeah.
Definitely something to be said about just like, and then pretty early on, like that total flipping of like that hyper masculine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was a big fan of like learning about that.
Yeah.
Like just like, oh yeah, leather and fire and guns and motorcycles, and then it's like, but also men, but specifically men.
Yeah.
And I
But
love
they
that.
brought a lot of like the leather style to metal.
Yeah.
And little did people know that it originated from like gay leather bars.
Mm-hmm. But of course, like the typical stereotypical men are just like, well, it's 'cause it's manly.
Yeah.
You got it, man. Whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's I think it's so interesting to see like that switch in the imagery too, of where metal has come from and what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love bands like Cannibal Corpse or even like Guar, who's like,
Yeah, they're crazy.
They're just putting on a show. Like they're not saying anything specific. They're not like trying to like put out this huge message, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It is Cannibal Corpse, right? They have I Come Blood. Like there's no like it's a fucking joke. Like
Yeah. But it's funny because the lead singer Corpse Grinder is such a fucking nerd.
oh, he's a huge
Like,
nerd.
He's a huge Warcraft nerd and just like a nerd in general. He loves plushies. He's such a family man. I think that's so funny. But he has the most epic headbang.
Yeah.
That is like goals. That windmill headbang is insanely perfect.
It's well, and like when your neck is like as big as your
Yeah.
head, like it's crazy. I don't know how.
Yeah. Those neck muscles.
Man, like that man's never had a bangover in his life, you know?
Mm-mm.
And I know I've had bangovers, so
Yeah.
went with the old school metal though. I like that. That's like very interesting. And definitely kept it as kind of part of like your image with like the dark and the even the hairstyle a little bit with the straight across bangs here. What when you kind of think of like that, do you feel like the music helped define your image? Did you find that on your own?
I don't know. I mean, maybe a little bit, just because I like to wear like a lot of band shirts and leather jackets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I'd still be into like black clothes and stuff like that anyway. I feel like if I didn't go metal, I probably would have went full goth.
Okay.
I just always like the spooky, like dark things, I guess.
Right. Right. Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Halloween.
yeah. So you wouldn't define yourself as like a gothic style though.
I mean, I guess it kind of gets generalized like that.
It does.
That's probably the best way to describe it. And how you said like pastel goth, it's kind of like that too, because I do like pastels and pinks and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
you know, like cute and spooky, you know?
Yeah. No, the pastel goth is definitely a normal or more it's just a branch.
Yeah.
It's just a branch. And yes, it is like that kind of generalized thing, but like
Mhm.
you in the middle of your screen here all dark, but then like all this like pink and light blue and
Yeah.
and purple all around you. It's very it definitely has a has a quality to it. Do you think if you were to like what direction would you go if you were to ever switch that? Like if you were just like I'm going to switch my image. Here we go.
Switch. Oh, wow. Probably just like super like Lolita style maybe. Like that very like really cute anime Japanese culture type thing, because I really like those looks too.
Yeah.
They're a little too like girly for me, or not girly, but like bright, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
and like frilly and stuff. So I'm not like too into that as much.
Fair.
But I guess if I did switch styles, I'd probably go like full like kawaii Lolita type style.
For sure. Okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, and is it like the same type of thing that got you into anime was like basically like you can't do this and you're like, well, I'm going to do it now.
You know what? With anime, when I was a kid, I really liked Pokemon, and One Piece used to come on,
Right.
on regular TV, and a show called Ultimate Muscle and stuff like that. And I was like, I like this style. And then later, I started watching Toonami,
Mm.
and I got into Naruto, and I was like, wait, this is what anime is like really like. And I just started branching off. Like, it had nothing to do with like things that were like forbidden or anything like
Okay.
that. It just, I don't know, just like the style of the stories and everything just like really appealed to me. And yeah, I just really got into it.
Yeah. You know, and it's the same thing. Like you see that same elitism in that community as well,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, don't you remember episode 672 of this? You're like, no, of course I don't.
Why can't people just let people enjoy things?
Like, let someone like a thing.
You know? Yeah, without having to know like every tiny little like obscure detail about it.
Right. Yeah, it's so I just why can I like something but just kind of like it?
Yeah, just casually be into something.
Like
And like that's gonna push people away from those things
Right.
too. You know, if it's full of people like that, and you have to constantly worry about people quizzing you or telling you, well, if you just like this anime, that's basic, and if you don't like these obscure animes, that you're not a real weeb. You know, it's like it makes you like not want to tell people, or like kind of just like pushes you away from those things.
right. And it becomes like this like gated community almost where you're like, well, now I don't
Mhm.
want to be a part of that. I'll say I like Sailor Moon, but if you ask me about like all these facts about Sailor Moon, I'm going to be like, I have no idea. Because I watched the show and I enjoyed
Mhm.
what I have seen, and I know that it's been going on years since the last thing I've seen, but like that's it, right?
Yeah.
Don't you remember the 400th episode of DBZ, but not DBZ, DBZ Budokai Z45?
Oh my gosh.
No, dude, I have no idea. I have no idea. I just like the thing. And that should be allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like the thing. Yeah, and do you have more of like the things that you do lean to? A buddy of mine just recently bought Guts sword, like the full on,
That's it?
like from Berserk, like the huge,
Oh.
like the huge thing.
Yeah, I never got into Berserk. I tried to, and it
Mhm.
just didn't stick.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. I see the books back there, but I can't read them. What are some of those back there?
Oh, back here, I have Tokyo Ghoul over here. That's
Okay.
like one of my favorites. I have a bunch of Naruto. I have Elven Lied. I have Demon Slayer, Rosario Vampire, Monster Masumi.
Mhm.
A weird, silly one called Bobobo. If you've heard of Bobobo, like we're instantly friends, but not a lot of people have.
I have not heard of it. Please don't gatekeep it.
No. It's a really dumb anime, and the mangas are even worse. It's a very specific type of humor. It's very random and very silly. Like if you like stuff like Invader Zim,
Mhm.
then you might like that style.
Okay.
But and there's some Death Note back there. I don't know, it's there's a lot.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can see. I recognize like the DBZ, and I can see like the Pokemon and the Naruto characters. I even see the cat from Sailor Moon. But yeah, one of the shows that I enjoyed was Golden Boy, which is this just garbage anime from the 90s. It's really goofy, very silly, and then they would hit you with these shots. Like it was just kind of like this really goofy kind of what looked like really cheaply made, and then they'd hit you with like this frame of like every possible detail of this shot is there.
I love goofy stuff like that.
I'll have to send you one of my favorite clips, which is this really, really goofy thing. Shout out to those who know about Golden Boy. And I'll check out Bobobo. It's not something I've heard of, but I'm into it. And I think like everybody also has like that same elitism exists, but I feel like it varies within that community itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you are allowed to like multiple things, but if you like two things that are meant to be opposite, or like, oh, you can't be in the One Piece and Naruto camp, no way, right? Or like,
See, I think that's a silly mindset too.
right.
Like, why do people have to choose? Like, what's
Yeah.
better?
I think I don't know. It's weirdly competitive when it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, that's well said.
Because like nobody wins when you're like all competing for the title of nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, what's the best anime? Well, it's everybody's opinion, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the best Black Sabbath album? Well, it's like, oh, well, is it the Dio years or is it not the Dio years? I personally think Heaven and
Yeah.
Hell, but like, there's like, you know, like, it's all
I think a better question is not the best, but what is your favorite?
right.
Because what's the best is like, it's so subjective. Like, how could you just say this is the best thing when there's so many different animes out there?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been saying specifically what's your favorite because it's important because it's like, it's not
Yeah.
really all that important about what's the quote unquote best versus like,
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, your favorite Pokemon versus my
Mhm.
favorite Pokemon, even in a game where they go against each other.
Yeah.
But in that same anime, or you know, a Pikachu beat an Onix, and you're like, come on now, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but could it really, you know? But it's a show. Relax, right?
Yeah.
I think the world of interests and what I've found from talking with many creators, and the majority of female presenting creators deal with this weird discrimination. Like you like have like this extra wall, this extra hurdle
Mhm.
that you gotta like get over or break through or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like sitting there like, I don't like, why am I fighting another battle? Like,
Yeah.
what purpose does that serve? What when you think of the things that you've had to kind of like quote unquote overcome when it comes to like a fan base or whatever, what how did you kind of get through that? Like, what did you do?
I don't know. When it comes to video games and stuff, there's a lot of elitism. People just assuming because you're a woman, you can't play video games or you're not good at video games and like that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, I just tell people don't backseat me, don't assume I don't know things.
Right.
But when it came to World of Warcraft, just because that is like my favorite like top game that I'm good at, my response was always 1v1 me then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that usually shut a lot of them up. I feel like when you're really confident in a video game, especially like a multiplayer, be like, okay, well, we can duel and see, you know?
Right.
But most of the time I just kind of blow them off and just tell them, you know, if they're not going to respect me, then they don't need to be in my space.
Gotcha. So there's a pretty hard line for you about like what is acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Yeah, because I know in general, like if someone loves a game, I get the urge to like help and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
But like some people, you could tell it kind of comes from a place of, oh, it's a girl playing, I have to help her type of thing.
The white knight thing.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of that.
Yeah. And I imagine, at least this is my kind of assumption, and like when I've talked to like Ari and like Rare Gangster about these things, like they deal with it a lot the bigger they've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Where these brand new people will come in and be like, I can't believe you missed this treasure chest or something, you know, and you're like,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, something I like to tell people is, you know, you got to experience a game for the first time without 20 people breathing down your neck and telling you how to play. Just let people experience it. You're not going to get everything on your first playthrough. Let people miss things. Like, it's okay if someone misses a treasure chest. It's okay if someone misses a power-up. Like, it's even if it's not their first playthrough, just let people experience games how they're going to experience games. Like, it's not going to affect you. Like, who cares if they miss something? Just let them enjoy the game.
Exactly. And something that you like when it comes to like World of Warcraft for you, you're like, I've done my time. I know.
Yeah.
I know how long
when I'm playing one of my favorite games, like World of Warcraft, or when I was playing through Metroid Prime, I was like, look, I probably know more than you. Like, I had someone trying to backseat me in Metroid Prime, and I was getting power-ups and hidden items that they didn't even know were in the game. I'm like, yes, this is my game. Like, trust me, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to doubt it. Just let me play, please.
I know what I'm doing. I promise. And it's so wild to me. I was talking about this with some of the mods recently about how that doesn't really happen in my stream. Like, I don't get a lot of backseating. Every so often somebody will be like, hey, have you played this before? And I'll be like, no, I haven't. And they'll be like, oh, cool. And then they'll just let me play. Or, you know, or just kind of, they'll say, like, I have even been asked, hey, do you want help? And I feel like if people just did that with you,
yeah,
it would be like, no, I'm good, thanks. And that would be the end of the conversation.
Yep.
I only ever had the one time where someone like full on tried to backseat me, and I was like, why don't you go play, bro?
Yeah.
Like, you clearly love this game, so go play. Go play it.
And like, I try to be kind at first because I feel like sometimes people don't realize they're backseating.
Right.
They're just so excited because they love the game so much that they're like, I want to help this person.
Right.
So like, I try to meet it with like kindness first before I like get stern. But then you know, if it continues, obviously it's like, all right, dude, like my mods are about to bop you. Like you need to chill. But I also know that some people just get really excited about a game that they love and they think they're helping you, but they're just kind of, you know, being too extra, I guess.
And there's something about specifically it's always aimed again at women or female presenting people,
Yeah.
where it's like, I don't like, if I came into your Metroid Prime stream, I'd be impressed because like I played that game once, you know, once when it came out on GameCube, and that was it. And then I got the remastered, so I'm gonna play it again.
Oh,
But-
it's so good. They did such a good job on the remaster.
I'm excited because I've heard it is pretty, I've heard, and then of course like it's just like it's more like accessible, almost like it's easier to do.
There's like more like, I guess there's a few little like quality of life type improvements on it.
That's the word I was thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love that when you beat the game, there's a hard mode that unlocks.
Little new game
So
plus
I really,
action.
yeah.
Ooh.
So I really want to try to play it in hard mode and try to do a deathless run.
Ooh.
But hard mode's pretty difficult. I'm pretty early on in the game. I'm like, this is pretty hard. But
It would be in the title, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that piece of like you're just trying to I'm just trying to play this game, and I've definitely noticed that people take different stances on it. Like you said, a lot of people try and be like, hey, like listen, like I just don't want you to backseat. If I need help, I will ask for it. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody had like a word, like they were just like almonds, you know, and then people could be like, all right, you go this way, and then you know?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was.
That's actually
but-
helpful. That's helpful. I have a visual cue.
Visual.
Feel free to steal this idea, anybody, because it's really helpful. It's just a little Halloween frog, like a bongo frog, but it appears on the corner of my webcam. So it's like a visual cue that I'm not asking rhetorical questions. I'm not thinking out loud. I'm legit asking for help. So it's
Oh.
just like a clear visual cue so no one could misunderstand anything.
I
That's
like
the
that.
only time people could backseat. It's really helpful.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, because like when you're just thinking out loud, you're gonna ask these rhetorical questions. Where do I go?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
do
some
I-
people are just waiting to answer, you know?
it's like they have it typed out already. Or like, what do you?
Yeah, they're just waiting to hit send.
You have this on a Word document? How are you doing so fast? Yeah, it's but I do appreciate your kind of attitude toward it. You're like, it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but treating it with that kind of kindness and going like, I will ask for your help when I need it. I appreciate you being here. That's your light warning, you know?
Yeah.
When do you have like any major future plans or like anything that you like plan on doing for your channel or for your content that you're like willing to give us a hint on or anything like that?
Well, for the most part, I'm just kind of, sticking to what I'm doing and taking it a day at a time. Because I know people like to make these big plans, like of things like I want to make partner one day and I want to do this and that, and like I feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself because whether you make those things or not is kind of like out of your control.
Mhm.
So like I'm just enjoying my time with my community. I have a lot of retro games that I really want to focus on this year, like Final Fantasy IV I've never played, Chrono
Ooh.
Trigger. I've never played the Kingdom Hearts series before.
Okay.
So that's another big one. So yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy it a day at a time.
I feel like the RPGs are where those white knights really come through.
Yeah.
Especially Chrono Trigger is the one I hear all the time.
I'm a little nervous about that, but over the past 3 years, I've really gotten better at setting boundaries because I've always been a pushover. Like since I was a kid, like I have such a hard time saying no to people. I have this concern about hurting people's feelings. Even when someone's being a jerk, like the thought of like hurting someone's feelings like makes me a little bit nauseous.
Yeah.
And it's like something like that I've had to get over and like set boundaries for myself and stand up for myself. So I'm glad I waited to play some of these games that are really heavy with like aggressive backseaters, because now at least I feel a little more confident to tell people like that's enough, you know?
Right. Yeah, draw that line. And I mean, if you have, and I know you do because I lurk a lot. I lurk with everybody. I have so many channel points. But with a lot of things is like when you have a good community who's just like ready to be like, hey dude, we don't do that here, or
Yeah.
like we had somebody who came in and was pretty vehemently against a lot of things that we our community really like agrees with, you know, like we respect pronouns, we, you know, no humans illegal, like those kinds of things. Like we're very,
Yeah.
you know, we're pretty vocal about that stuff.
Mhm.
And they're pretty vehemently against it. And I'm like, we can have discussions if you're respectful.
Yeah.
There's a difference here. Like we can have a discussion about this topic, and if you're cool, like you're not yelling at people, even if people do disagree with you, which they will, and we can have a discussion. But the second you're like stating things as fact and not willing to have a discussion, then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like just being like a part of like listening and lurking in your channel and stuff like that, knowing that they've got your back.
Yeah. And I have really great mods too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really important to have a good mod team that you trust, and that is like, you know, my mods really helped me learn to stand up for myself more. They were the ones pushing me to stand up for myself more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I definitely have to thank them for that. They've really encouraged me to like set boundaries and not let people kind of push me around, I guess.
Yeah. No, big love to the mods out there. Yeah, it's there's something to be said for just having people, whether or not they even are mods, just to be able to like be like, we don't do that here, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I just love, because, you know, like this happened last week, 2 weeks ago. Just like, and this happens all the time. I'm totally used to it, but like people see my paint and nails and automatically like, gay joke, you know.
Oh.
And it's just like, usually I can just kind of like let it roll off the back. I'm like, all right, do better, you know, like.
Yeah.
If you're gonna come in and insult a streamer for the first time, like, get creative. Like, give me something.
Yeah.
Give me some, because I can take it. I'll be all right. Like, do something. And let's not just like make fun of an entire group of people that I don't even technically belong to. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even technically belong. Hetero flexible is the closest I can get, right? Right? Like, it's. I was like, I was in chat. It was in just chatting. We were like, I was like, I'm never just like, I'm attracted to women and I am attracted to femininity, as just kind of a hetero person, but I'm never gonna like rule out.
I've never heard hetero flexible before. That's so funny.
I'm never gonna like rule it out. Like if it's like, you know, some point in the future and all of a sudden like that guy's wildly attractive or something. I don't know. The other day someone said gynosexual.
What's that?
That means that they're attracted as long as you have the female part. And I was like, that seems oddly specific.
Okay.
I know. I was like, that's new. That's new. Yes, scuba sparkle straight is another one I get a lot.
Sparkle straight, I love it.
Another one I get a lot because like I'm not gonna be scared of makeup and painting my nails and things like that. Whatever, man. Like, do you? Do you? Speaking of, when we were talking before and we added to the tags the LGBTQIA tag,
Mhm.
do you consider you consider yourself part of that group?
Mhm.
And when did the she they pronouns kind of come into play?
Um, Probably just in the last like couple of years
Okay.
for she they. But I mean, if you're asking like how long I've been LGBTQ, I realized when I was like maybe around 11 or 12.
Hmm. Hmm. Was it a show you were watching? I hear this a lot.
I mean, I do have some like gay awakening people.
Sure.
A big one was was Xena, Warrior Princess. That was like one of my
No
biggest
doubt.
ones. And Poison Ivy from the Batman cartoon back in the 90s.
The animated series?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. Like, I don't know. Making the planet full of plants sounds kind of all right, really.
I can get behind that.
Is it really that bad of a thing? Oh, it's because she's killing people. Okay. All right. No, that part I'm not on board with, but the other part?
Yeah.
No, you definitely like you have I hear from a lot of LGBTQ people and with my partner included, she's bi,
Mhm.
is very just like watching a show, and I started like I was sitting on a pillow and all of a sudden, and I was just like, oh, interesting. All right. That's interesting. Kovu was one of her like, oh my God, like something's weird here. And then it was like that combined with all the other ones. It's just like,
Yeah.
why are these lions hot? Why are they all hot? You know?
Oh my gosh.
So pretty young,
Mhm.
pretty early on. I don't remember if you told me exactly how old you are, and you don't have to answer. But if you're pretty young and learning that kind of stuff, but growing up in a strict household, was that a very hidden thing? Was that a
Oh yeah.
don't ask, don't tell?
That was really tough. It wasn't a don't ask, don't tell. It's like if I ever got caught with a girl, like it would have been over for
Really?
me. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was a big struggle too because
Mhm.
you know, I was still like kind of like in the very religious setting and like still believing in it when I was like in middle school. So
Sure.
it was like a scary thought because I'm like, why am I like this? Am I going to hell? Am I like possessed? Like, what is this? Because one of the things they say is like, oh, it comes from like demons and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, like, what's wrong with me? Like,
Right.
you know, and then, you know, once I got into high school, it kind of became more of like there's nothing wrong with me. I think there's something wrong with the religion.
The system.
So yeah, and like I would like sneak around with women, but I never like tried to bring a woman home or anything like that.
Right.
And I actually just recently came out to my parents, like just a couple months ago, like, and I'm in my 30s,
Yeah.
so that was kind of tough.
Well, I remember seeing that you posting about that on Twitter, and fucking full on 100% support from your peeps, which was super cool to see because
Yeah.
you never know who's just gonna come out of the woodwork. But I've been watching you for years and I hate it, and it's just like,
Yeah.
fuck?
Well, I've been pretty open about like my queerness, like with my community since I've been streaming. But yeah, never like actually to my parents. But my community has known since like the first year that I've been streaming that, you know, that I'm queer. So
Okay. And that's like with your sister as well?
my sister, I came out to my sister maybe just a couple of years ago, like fully came out. Because she told me that she thought, because she would see me with girls, but she thought I was just like a party girl, you know?
Oh yeah.
So that was her assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, she thought it was like one of those type of situations.
Sure.
But she's literally like the only supportive person in my family.
Mm,
So
yeah, and you hear that, unfortunately, too often.
yeah.
Where the generational difference is literally just the one, but it can cause such a rift.
Mhm.
And I'm glad to hear that your sister is like supportive, because like same generation
Yeah.
type stuff. Older sister, younger sister?
Younger sister.
Younger.
We're only 3 years apart, so
Okay, got you.
yeah.
Other siblings?
I have a younger brother also.
Okay. So we're both the oldest. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fun. I got 4 sisters though. It's a little bit different.
Oh. Just sisters?
Just sisters.
Oh.
Just sisters.
At
Which
least
might-
you're the oldest, so you didn't get picked on much, right?
Oh no, I did. I wasn't allowed to retaliate because
yeah.
I'm bigger than all of them.
Yeah.
They're like, well, they're girls, so you can't pick on them. And I'm like, why not? It's not fair. There's 4-on-1 and I can't do anything. It's ridiculous. I think it also helped me not be afraid of like girly things, you know?
Hmm.
Like, wouldn't it be silly if Travis tried on one of my spaghetti straps and I'd be like, sure. It'd be so silly, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's really cool to hear that, like, at least you have support with like the same age group here.
Yeah.
And I know that there's very much a difference too, in the generational thing. It's how, like, what's kind of the question I want to ask here? Hold on, let me put some words together. Let me bake them.
Let him cook.
Yeah. Let me cook. Where have you found kind of the most support when it comes to being queer or being under the LGBTQ umbrella?
I mean, in like a person that I actually spend time with, probably my wife. Because even when she was like, even before she came out, like she was extremely supportive of everything. But I've also just found a really great community of people online, you know, and in my community that have just been really awesome.
Yeah.
And like I had shared my story for the first time of like all the trauma I went through growing up in a religious environment, because they did some kind of messed up stuff to me when I was younger, because they found out when I was probably like 18, 19.
Okay.
And I opened up about it for the first time during a Pride raid train stream, like a Pride mental health stream.
Oh yeah.
And everyone was just extremely supportive, and like I know they really helped me get through it, because it was something that I never publicly told anyone out loud about. So it's just been really cool, just meeting a lot of people and making friends online with people who are just kind of there to support you.
Yeah.
And you know, when family kind of isn't.
Yeah, when they kind of mess up or truly have like really strong feelings against it. I found that like, and working with the kids like I do, like a lot of them have like similar type issues. They're really worried about their parents. And there's like that, because there's also a power differential, right? Like, well, if I come out to them, they can take away everything.
Yeah.
And that we like working through that and working with them and being like, yeah, like, no, that's a legitimate concern. Like, I'd be worried about like, oh yeah, well, I came out as gay and then they stopped letting me eat, you know, like, because that's a horrifying thing that's happened to one of my clients before. CPS got involved in all that, so worry not, kid's okay. But yeah, that very like that kind of support can come from a lot of different places, and I love hearing about like people. It's like the It Gets Better campaign almost. Like you just like if you make it through this and you find your people,
Yeah.
you're gonna be golden. A golden rainbow, as it were. You know, it's very it's this cool thing to hear about, like the supportive people that, because if you just start streaming, like you have no idea who's gonna come in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'll get trolls.
Oh yeah.
You know, they'll see the LGBTQ tag and be like, they'll come in and be like, "You're an abomination. You're mentally ill." You know what I mean? Like people just come in and like say some off the wall shit.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. And it's really unfortunate just because like you don't it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't help anything. And like that is a part of me, like when you think about like going to streams and being supportive and like the bare minimum would you just be kind of to show up and shut up. Like,
yeah. If you don't like it, click on somebody else.
yeah, go anywhere else. Like,
yeah, there's thousands of streamers. Like, if you don't want to watch a queer streamer, go watch somebody else. Like, it's not that hard.
And I bet you, and I bet you can find a streamer who probably agrees with you. You know, like,
yeah.
And like that sucks, but like, go find them, right? Like, there's no need to be around here with hate.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. We're very, very fortunate. I think I would agree that while we don't have the exact same community by any stretch, but we like share a lot of that same kind of ideals and ideologies of just like, no, you're welcome. You're welcome here.
Yeah.
Gay, straight, bi, whatever, ace, all of it. You know, and that creation of that space is so, I feel like it can be tricky.
Yeah.
And a lot of people sometimes try and use it for like numbers almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it's genuine.
If it's genuine, right.
You know?
We were talking about this the other day on stream. We were saying like people can see through like a non-genuine thing pretty quickly.
Yep.
But you'll see it unfortunately every so often where people will just be like they'll try and use the safe space thing as almost like this like flag to be like, boost my numbers because I'm a safe space.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're gonna call yourself a safe space, or you're gonna say that you want to provide a safe space, like you have to provide a safe space.
Right.
And you have to really clearly understand, like, what does that mean to you?
Right.
You know?
What I've been kind of told as a straight person specifically is like, I don't get to choose if my place is safe.
Or like, yeah, or like saying this is an ally, like,
right. I don't get to choose
and
that.
stuff like that. Yeah. I get that.
The other people get to choose that for me, and I'm, you know, and I do everything that I can to prove that I want to be kind of worthy of that title, as it were.
Yeah.
Have you found that like within the community, and I know what like my partner would say about this, but have you found within the community there's even like discrimination about like, you're not queer enough, or?
Yes. It's called bi erasure or pan erasure. Like, you're like, I could have been with women my whole life, but the second I date a man, my queerness doesn't exist.
Right. Go on.
And like, I think that's ridiculous because I went through so many struggles growing up, and I went through a lot of the same struggles that people who are, you know, 100% gay or lesbian or whatever, like I went through a lot of those same things, fear of getting kicked out, you know, retaliation from the church and like things like that. Like I went through trauma too, you know? And it's funny because like I've mostly like been with women and I heavily prefer women, and it's like I feel like but I'm not allowed to date a man, otherwise someone's gonna like come in and be like, you're not really gay, you know what I mean? And I think that's really silly. Especially with women. If women say they're bi or pan, they get a lot of like a side eye, like doubt, you know?
Right. Yeah. I've definitely and from just like that whole world of bi erasure and pan erasure, like it's so interesting because like it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, my wife is constantly telling me about how all beautiful and attractive all these other women are. Like, I don't think she stopped being bi.
Yeah.
when
like
we got married.
That's the point. Like, if you're bi or pan, like, you like more than one gender.
Right.
Like, so why does that make you less queer just because you're in a hetero relationship, you know?
Right. And like, I even thought about this recently. For those who don't know, I'm poly. And one of my partners that I've been seeing assigned female at birth, but is non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, they make the joke, of course, like everything I do with them is gay. Like, no matter what. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's fair, I guess. Yeah.
Because technically you're not with a woman.
I'm not with a woman, technically.
It's a little gay.
Right. I'm not with a man either. So I don't know, take your pick, I suppose. I think it's funny. But it's very like, but that world exists, and like you're like something that I couldn't provide to my partner when we decided to do the poly thing was I can't provide sex with a woman. I can't. Sorry, babe. You know, like
Yeah.
I would if I could for you, but of course I can't. And so like that has been like a big driving factor for her, was like, because the bi part never went away.
Yeah.
The bi part never went away. And for you, I know your partner recently came out as trans.
Mm-hmm.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how old your partner is, but like, even if they're anywhere close to the same age as you, that's a tough journey to undertake.
Oh, yeah, we're the
right
same
now.
age. We're like a couple months apart. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a hard journey to undertake at such at this age specifically.
Yeah, definitely.
When you've lived your whole life as a specific gender.
Yeah. And just like also hiding.
Right. Right. For you, did since obviously you were straight with them before, and all of a sudden you're bi again, like what happened?
Oh, no. Well, it's funny because like I used to, when they were masculine presenting and before they came out, like I used to always tell them like, I have literally never fallen in love with a man. You must be really special, because I never thought I would marry a man. I like literally 99% prefer women. Like I've only dated a couple of guys. Yeah. And so I was like, you must be really special. Gosh, I never thought I would fall in love with a man, but I guess I was right because I didn't.
I guess, yeah.
So now we kind of laugh about it, and it's like almost validating, I guess. I don't know. And so it was a shock at first because it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Sure.
But once that it took like a couple days to kind of like wear off, like, okay, like, you know, this is what's happening. But
like the initial shock, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, it was kind of a relief for me too, in a way.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, oh, cause I don't know how to explain. I always felt bad that deep down, like, I was kind of sad that I didn't like marry a woman. And I told her that like, if you were not like a trans woman, like I would never have regretted being with you.
Right.
But there was a part of me that felt like, I don't know, like I felt kind of sad because I don't really feel comfortable around men like that. And I don't really like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of hard to explain. but
Sure.
I don't know. I'm not attracted to like maybe like one in every like 1,000 men I'll find attractive, you know? So
Heard.
like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was almost like oddly like a relief.
Right.
And like I said, it felt kind of validating because I'm like, oh, so I did fall in love with the woman. Like I don't know, it's kind of hard for
You
me
just
to
didn't know it
explain.
yet.
Yeah, yeah.
You just didn't know it yet. It hadn't evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
was like, okay.
yeah, I love that for you. And I mean that world of evolving with a partner like that, because it also
Mhm.
changes for you too. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm no longer saying husband, now I'm saying wife. I mean, partner
Mhm.
kind of like is kind of the easiest way to do it all, but
Yeah.
like changing from that to that, was that kind of this was that an easy switch, or was that just like
That was actually a pretty easy switch. I
awesome.
probably called them by their dead name one time,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I used a he pronoun by accident once or twice.
Sure.
But now I'm just like super used to it. I'm at a point with them where I just see them as a woman and I forget that they were ever masculine presenting
Right.
at this point. So, and I feel like we've just become like so much closer with each other, and just I don't know, like more comfortable around each other.
Right.
And yeah, we've been doing our makeup together, stuff like that, and it's just I don't know, I just feel like we're just like falling in love all over again.
I mean, you're finally getting to like learn and be with this person who is with their like becoming their true self,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and like their transition only changes you in the sense that I got to use different words now.
Yeah.
I got to use different
'Cause, like-
words now because I'm still in love with this person.
Yeah. And
The-
like being pan
Yeah.
anyway, it's like
Yeah.
love and attraction is kind of genderless to me anyway. So like my thing is like I fell in love with them as a person.
Right.
It had nothing to do with like their gender. Like even if they decided like, you know what? No, I don't want to be a trans woman anymore. I want to be a man, or I want to switch back and forth. I don't care
Right.
because I fell in love with like them.
Mhm.
That's like the best way I can like it's their like their soul and their just them as a person that really attracted me
Right.
and made me feel the way I do about them. So I don't know. For me, love is genderless. So
Totally.
it just was easy for me to support them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's like something to be said. I mean, I find that's beautiful, but like that's so cool to just hear about like they're the same person. They're just going by different
Yeah.
pronouns now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and she is the same person, and
right.
except her energy feels so much lighter.
Right.
It's such a big difference, I think. Because for years I knew something was wrong. And I thought, well, like maybe they're depressed and they don't want to tell me because I have really bad depression.
Sure.
And they're the type of person that'll 100% put other people that they love first.
Right.
So I was worried, like, oh my gosh, what if they're depressed and like they don't want to tell me? Like I knew something was wrong, and I would always ask them, like, I have a feeling something's wrong and you're not telling me. And they would
Right.
always tell me nothing's wrong. And, you know, come to find out the whole time there was something wrong. And now it's just like a weight's been lifted off of her and she's just so like light and happy now. And
Right.
it's really awesome to see for me.
When was it? I mean, obviously there was that initial shock.
Yeah.
Did you have some sort of feeling beforehand? Was there like a
No.
realization? Like, I think something's up with the body here, or the brain.
No, when they told me though, like a lot of stuff made sense. Like a lot of
all
their yeah, like a lot of their mannerisms and like the way they viewed things.
yeah.
I always thought, well, you know, they were raised by just their mom and they had a lot of sisters and a lot of cousins, like female cousins they would spend time with. So I just thought maybe because they grew up around a lot of feminine energy,
Mhm.
that they just picked up stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, and it's funny too because sometimes I would tell them like the way they would act with me,
Mhm.
I would be like, I feel like I'm dating a woman in a man's body. Like, and I would always tell them that, like, you're basically just a woman in a man's body. And like, I feel bad about that now. I mean, I didn't know, you know,
Of course not.
but also she said that it kind of felt validating to her in a way when I would tell her that,
Sure.
even though I would say it in a way that's like, wow, like I really feel like I'm dating a woman in a man's body with the way that you act.
Yeah.
So it's all stuff we kind of joke about now, but like I'm an anxious overthinker. So like ever since she came out to me, I'm literally going over like everything I've ever said to her that might have like hurt her.
Yeah.
You know?
Like inadvertently, like it was never.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's never on purpose.
Like I couldn't have known, but I'm like, damn, I said this to her before, and it's just, I don't know. But I mean, you said you have anxiety too, so I'm gonna
Heard. Yes.
say, do you like overthink like that too?
Everything I've ever said in my entire life.
Yeah.
You know, down to like the 2-1 pitch in Little League type of thing. Like I'm like, did I miss that? Or did I blow it? Yeah, it's very interesting to. I mean, I love that you don't. It was just so easy for you, and I get told constantly by my own wife that like she's like, you're like the one. You're like the one dude, because like the rest of the dudes, it's like you said, it's like one every couple hundred dudes.
Yeah.
That I'm like, that's an attractive man, and that's about it. And I'm like, that's fair. I mean, I'm glad I got in like under the finish marker or whatever. But yeah, that creation of a relationship not based on parts, you know, because it sounds like for you that's never even been a thing. It's like, no, that's not the important piece. It's their heart's not parts, right?
Yeah.
And that world of learning to kind of accept them and then being able to like share new things with them. I like that's so awesome to be like, yeah, now I can do makeup together and we can talk more about specifically female things. Things that wouldn't affect somebody who is a cis man. Now they can now you can connect on that too, and that's really cool. And then for you, as far as like when it comes to pronouns, gender identity and stuff like that, the they part, this is something that I find a lot of people get confused with. Why she they? Like what's the point of that if it's just like if they're cool with she, why add the extra?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why that bothers people. Like
Same, but I'm asking what your kind of thoughts are.
But I don't know. I've always been teetering between like masculine and feminine energy. Since I was young, I was always more of like what they called a tomboy back then and like that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I just feel more comfortable with she, they pronouns. And I really don't mind either.
Sure.
You know? But I also feel like I'm not like 100% feminine energy, if that makes sense.
Totally, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't, like when I said in the introduction when I was like pronouns are a personal journey and you should be able to change them and be them and try one out for a little while if you want to, you know, whatever. It's not a one size fits all sort of thing. I love that world of where people are like, you have to pick one, because you sit there and you go, but why? Because technically everybody responds to they. Like if I throw keys in the middle of the floor and I say who dropped their keys, one of y'all is gonna respond.
Yeah.
Male, female,
That's a good example. Because why would you just say who dropped his keys? Like, when you
Right.
have no idea who dropped it.
Who dropped their keys?
Yeah.
They, them, right there.
But, like, I also think it's really strange that people could be so judgmental about others and, like, care so much
Yeah.
about what
that's the
other
piece.
people want to be called. Like, you could tell me you identify as a shoelace, and I will call you a shoelace. Like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like, just let people be happy.
Yeah.
And, like, if calling someone by a certain pronoun makes them happy, or they identify as another gender and that's what makes them happy, like, why can't you just support that? Like,
It seems like it'd be really easy, right?
yeah, it's so weird that there's so many people out there that care about that, and there's so much like trans hate
Mm-hmm.
that goes on too, and it's just it's wild to me, and I hate that people call trans a mental illness, because to me, what I think would be a mental illness is caring so much what genitals are in someone's pants, or caring so much about what someone wants to be called. Like, that's weird behavior to me.
Yeah.
You know, and trans people have always existed, and I feel like it's hard enough to feel like you're born in the wrong body, because I can't imagine like feeling the way I do about myself, and you know, but yet being born a man. Like, I can't imagine how hard like that must be. And I feel like people go through enough without, you know, without other people telling them that there's something wrong with them, when not just trans, but like people in the LGBTQI plus community in general, especially at the time that I grew up. Like, I don't know if we're like the same age, but I'm in my 30s.
I'm 32.
And okay, well, I'm a couple years older than you then. I don't know, in the
Yeah.
time that we grew up, there wasn't a lot of representation. And so we grew up a lot thinking something was wrong with us, you know? And I feel like that's hard enough without people coming in and telling us that there's something wrong with us. Because it's hard enough to accept yourself for the way you were born
100%.
without other people criticizing you and saying awful things to you.
Yeah. I think that the thing about like learning to accept yourself for who you are, regardless of what that is. Sometimes that's the opposite gender of what you were born as. Sometimes that's like the same, but a little bit of the other one too. Or if we're thinking about it in that super binary world, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a big reason why I'm like, it's a personal journey, man.
Yeah.
It is you get to choose where you're at on that journey.
Mhm.
And like from the like when people have come out to me, like a good friend of mine is also non-binary, and they came out, I want to say like 2-ish years into our friendship. Used to go by he, him, now goes by they, them. Like were there times when I messed it up a couple of times? Yeah. But was I ever like offended that I messed it up? I was more like, no, gosh, dang it, sorry, you know, like, and you just,
Yeah.
and like the best advice I got from them was just like, no, apologize and move on.
Mhm.
Simple as that. Simple as that. You just you apologize, you go, sorry, they would like a drink, you know, like,
Yeah.
simple as that. You don't have to like make this huge deal about it, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm trying really hard here, like it's just so weird, like,
Yeah.
you know, like they doesn't even make sense in syntax. It's like, it does, you're just not trying hard enough, you know. And it's always something that I'm like, it's and also like at the bottom line is, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not about you. If Tabby wants to go by they, sweet,
Yeah.
do your best to call them they, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
do your best, and like if it's a sudden switch, you might mess it up a few times, and that's okay. And you might mess it up a few times, and that is absolutely okay. So we've been going for about 2-ish hours, a little close to 2 hours. Would you like to take a quick little break, fill up water bottle, go to the bathroom, things like that?
Yeah, we can take a little break.
Cool. So just for those who are in the chat, much love for you all being here. Thank you so much. And we'll come back. I have a couple more things that I was going to go over, and then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end. The questions can be related to anything that we've talked about, not related to anything that we've talked about. It can be as simple as your favorite color, or my question that I want you to think about maybe a little bit, Tabby, is what is your favorite middle evolution of a Pokemon?
Ooh, okay.
Right, not final,
Yeah.
which generally looks the coolest. I get that, but the middle one, the awkward one.
Okay, but what if my favorite Pokemon of all time is a middle evolution?
Well, then that would be your answer.
It's
Wouldn't
kind of easy.
it? Easier than I thought. But yes, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Give us like, I don't know, I want to say 5-ish minutes or so. We'll be back. I'm gonna fill up my water bottle, so I gotta go let the dog out for a few seconds. But yeah, we'll be back. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Tabby, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you all very, very soon. was gonna say something weird about like it being like a sexy bathroom break, and then I thought that was a little too weird. Welcome back, everybody. This is for those who don't know or just joined us. This is Tabby or TabathaSabbatha. Yes, that is a Black Sabbath reference, by the way. I just want to say thank you so much for those who have been here, and I have been really enjoying the shoutouts or the talk so far. So there are a couple more things that I was kind of ask about a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go to the Q&A section, which is just anybody from the audience. Like I said, feel free to ask questions to me, to Tabby, to both of us. It can be related to what we've been talking about, unrelated to what we've been talking about. And because you had me curious the whole time, what is your favorite middle evolution, apparently?
It's Haunter.
Okay, no, that checks out. Okay. That checks out. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot more Gengar merch, though.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of Gengar stuff.
I see
it. But as a kid, like I loved Haunter so much that I refused to evolve him.
We also had to trade him and like.
Yeah.
I'm not about.
But I prefer to just keep him a Haunter forever.
Yeah, he's gonna be my level 100 Haunter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good one. That's very cute. Or scary, spooky, maybe.
Or both.
I mean, I still like that. Like, I don't know if you've had this experience from playing like Red and Blue, but the tower, like that music, that do 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 do, like that one, like was just like on loop, even after you turned off the game. Weird.
Oh, I was a weird kid. Like I would go into Lavender Town and just let it play in the background like I was listening to music. Like I love that tune so much.
Mm-hmm. Now you can find like lo-fi of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have it on my playlist.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, that's great. One thing I was going to quickly ask about with the transition of your wife, wife into your wife, I should say. Was there at any point like any sort of public backlash that you experienced other than from your folks? Because I know that you said that the whole thing coming out to the folks and then obviously being like, that's not my husband anymore.
Yeah.
That's my wife. Still married legally. Like,
thankfully everyone's been really cool.
that's great.
Like especially online, and I was worried about it.
Sure.
You know, when that happened, like I because I know how much like trans hate there is out there. So I was worried. I'm like, are people gonna be mean to her? Like, and I'm one of those people that's like, if you even look at my spouse dirty, like I'm gonna go full feral. So like I was just here like ready to protect her, like if anyone says anything icky to you, but everyone's been really cool and supportive so far.
Yeah.
We've gotten, and it's crazy too, because when I posted about it like on Twitter, I was scared because I really thought that some trolls would come in and like say some awful things, but it was nothing but like people being kind and like super supportive. And like shout out to my community too, because they so quickly switched to like she, her pronouns. They started calling her my wife like right away. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And it just really confirmed that I have a really great community.
Hell yeah, pumpkin patch.
Mm-hmm.
Big shouts. Yeah, it's that's definitely something I like was thinking about, because I remember reading your post specifically and being like because when I saw it there was a bunch of comments and stuff like that, and I was almost like fearful of going in and looking at the comments So I was like, oh man, I really don't want to just read some horrid shit because it's Twitter, and no, hate is allowed again. So like it's
Yeah.
or comedy as Elon calls it, which is the fucking that man. The Canadians have the best word for it, and it's chud. And I'm like, that's really that actually fits really well. It's just a harsh word. But yeah, anyway, so like I was really worried, but and everyone was like, hell yeah, we support you. We support you and your wife. Love it. And I was like, that's amazing. Right?
Yeah.
It was so cool to see, especially just in the social media world in general, of just like, oh my God, I can't believe that was like a scary, that could have been so much worse. You know what I mean?
Well, I did put like only people that I follow myself could comment on it.
That does help.
So I know that definitely helped, I'm sure.
Right.
But regardless, like everyone was just so kind and like awesome about it. And they continue to be, you know, and I don't know, I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, and to have like have created that space for you and your community, I think is just one of the most impressive things, just because like, and like the times that I do like am lurking, or even when we get to raid into you, because you and I run fairly parallel, is like it's so cool to just see that welcoming nature from so many people in your community. And on top of that, regardless of gender and sexual preference and or non-sexual preference, they could be ace, right?
Yeah.
Sex, no thanks, right? Which is also cool. It's all good. That's another one I have a hard time wrapping my head around, why people get like offended about that. Like, why do you care?
Like
they're not into sex. Like, why does that affect you? You know?
Yeah. I don't know. I never understood the weird judgment that people have on people doing things that doesn't affect them.
Right.
I can't understand that myself.
Well, and that's just the other piece, right? Like, it doesn't affect you. Like, maybe you really wanted to have sex with them, but like, bummer.
Yeah. Like, did you think you were gonna have a chance if they weren't?
Right.
Like,
how many people do you run into where you're like, yeah, they're really good looking, but like you're gonna get that disappointed over their choice? Like that's like what they want to do. And for some, it's like quite literally like a physiological thing. They're like, I feel nothing. An ace friend of mine was talking about it, and they were just like, it's like kissing a wall. It does nothing. I'm like, and that's with everybody. And they're like, everybody. I feel nothing. I'm not into it, so they're not into it. I'm like, makes sense. But I think that's really, really neat, that and very very telling of who you are as a person, that you've just created a community of people that you're like, this, everyone's welcome. Everyone can be who they are and who they want to be, regardless of these things that we get to be put in, including our pronouns, our boxes, whatever you want to call them.
yeah.
I just think that's a really cool thing. Happy to be part of the pumpkin patch, as well as like that you have created it.
I think a lot of it, and just like how easily I make friends with people and stuff like that, a lot of it came from being bullied.
Sure.
Because I was bullied elementary school through high school. It got so bad in middle school that I had white hairs like sprouting on my head.
Oh.
So like, yeah, it was really bad. And so I think like after that, I had really decided that like I never want anyone to feel that way if I can help it.
Right.
And I feel like there are so many people that are just so different, and they have their weird little things, or grew up in
Yeah.
different environments, or are neurodivergent, have a hard time like making friends with people and things like that. And I just feel like it's so important to not let people feel less than
Right.
just because of who they are. Like, as long as they're not like a bad person or like hurting other people, it's so important to me to have a space where people feel like they're not left out. Like, they are one of the cool kids. Like, I don't care how dorky you are, or like how uncool you are in like other people's eyes. Like, if you're in my community, you're one of the cool kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I want everyone to feel. So I think that really just turned into something really awesome because of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that creation of, I mean, and it is so often is the case with a lot of content creators. I won't say all of them, is they want to create that welcoming atmosphere because a lot of the times they weren't welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I my favorite thing about some people is like dichotomy, because like I liked being in choir and in the plays, but I also played football and baseball. So you talked about that bullying stuff, like the amount of F slurs I've heard in my life, my goodness. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's ironic because where do you think all the girls are? They're in choir.
Good point.
You know where the girls aren't? In the boys' locker room.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But that was so, like, I love being people that are like, yeah, like I present as a female, but I am not, or vice versa, right? Or those types of, like, that dichotomous nature is so cool in my mind to learn about people, because like it just shows that people can be so layered.
Yeah.
And you were talking about like total tomboy growing up and that kind of stuff, but if I looked at you now, like there would be no part of my mind that would assume that of you growing up. And I love the that just like that welcoming of like, no, you are welcome here, you belong here. You belong here, regardless of all those extra boxes that we get to check when we're doing little demographics things, right? Or not check.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't belong to any of them, and that's cool too. So for you, that creation was born out of a place of kind of resilience. How did you, as you were growing up, kind of work through getting bullied and having to deal with those types of people? And if you can even remember how you got through it, because I know that trauma does some things to brains.
Yeah. No, I honestly had a really hard time because I've always been a really like empathetic kid.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I had a really hard time with it, and I think the way I coped the most was probably just reading books. I was always too shy to talk to people anyway, so like during recess, during lunch, all that stuff, I would just hide by myself and just like be reading a book, I guess. And that's kind of what got me through it. It's why I love books so much now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. We just did a silent reading stream. Like literally just we all got on Discord and we streamed it, but we were all just reading.
I love that though.
Quietly to ourselves. I just had like a little bit of music going and it was nice.
That sounds really comfy.
Well, it was comfy, and it's the other side, that dichotomy part, because usually, like I said, I'm yelling about dicks and things like that. So
yeah.
that very opposite nature of just like, yeah, we're gonna do something totally out of left field.
Yeah.
And I would do it again because it was like 3 hours where it was surprising that my ADHD didn't just like go off the rails.
No, I get that too. Because we'll be like comfy and cozy. We'll be all kind to each other and just like loving on each other. But then all of a sudden it's like hentai this and
Oh yeah,
like you said, dicks that and just
sure.
like all kinds of like, you know, degen chaos happening.
Yeah. Yeah, the other day it was like, what was your very first porn that you ever watched, you know?
Oh my god.
And a lot of people had the same answer. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why do we think that is? Yeah, I love that fun piece of content creation is for me just like the word variety has that kind of like negative weird thing on Twitch. They're like, oh well, you'll never make it if you don't stick to a thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, gross. I don't like that mindset. I don't know. I think because like people can do whatever you want, and people are gonna see. They're like I said earlier, like people see through a non-genuine thing so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could I get more viewers if I was playing COD and stuff like that? Maybe, but like, I don't really like it, you know?
Yeah, and like also like I feel like I'd rather have a community and like grow a community of people that are there to hang out
Right.
and, you know, cultivate friendships and things like that. So they're coming to hang out together.
Right.
It's not all dependent on me streaming one game.
Right.
Which is what I like about variety streaming, because there are people who are there all the time, no matter what, you know, I'm doing, whether I'm painting, whether I'm playing a cozy game, whether I'm playing a horror game. Like everyone's just kind of there to hang out and have a good time. And like I'd rather have that than just be put into a box of I only play Warcraft, I only play Final Fantasy.
Right.
Which I mean, it's perfectly valid though if like all you want to play is Warcraft or Final Fantasy or Call of Duty and 2.
If it's by choice, absolutely.
So.
But if you're doing it because you feel like you have to,
yeah,
people are
like,
eventually going to see through it.
I would rather grow slower than playing things and doing things that I love than skyrocket my growth playing a game that I don't really care about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because you can I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like a good example. Like I could play like Smash Bros all the time and really get a lot of like the Smash Bros community. But it's like hyper competitive, and I used to do competitive Smash for a hot minute. Tell you way too many stories of angry grown men. But the like it's just not what I want to do, you know what I mean? Eventually you're just like, all right, I want to do something else. Like even I know you say you do Warcraft every Wednesday, but like I feel like if you were just like on a Wednesday, you're like, I'm just not feeling it today. Let's play, I don't know, Sonic, you know, like just like something out of the blue.
And I've had days like that too, where it's like, I'm not really feeling like the game we had scheduled. And I'm like, can we do this instead? And like, everyone's always just like, yeah, like we're there to hang out with you, like play whatever you want. So I think that's awesome. Like I would much rather have that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'd rather people show up for me and not just for the game that I'm playing.
100%. Yeah. Big shouts to the Super Friends in the Pumpkin Patch. Cause like, it definitely just cool to know that they're like, oh yeah, do whatever you want. They're like, I'm not sweating what you're playing. If it happens to be a game I'm interested in, then great. But even if it's not, you know, we're there for you.
Yeah.
That feels good. Definitely. What do you feel like is like the key, or maybe multiple keys to keeping content creation fun for you and keeping it as like a thing for you? Because I see so many people burn out. And if you're coming up on 4 years, you know, like that's, some people would tell you like it's time to give up or something.
I don't know. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm getting burnt out just because of like just like mental health things, but I don't know, like But then, like, I'll get a message from someone in the community saying, you know, I was having a really bad mental health week and your streams really meant a lot to me. And, like, this community, like, keeps me going on my bad days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that constantly keeps me going. I have, like, some handwritten notes from people that I save by my desk to, like, look at, like, whenever I'm having, like, a bad brain day and, like,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I really, really think it's my community and people reminding me of, like, how much the community means to them. It just kind of makes me snap out of that bad brain space. And, you know, like, and I never expected streaming to be like this. Like, I thought
Same.
that I was gonna play some video games and I was gonna be able to nerd out with people over anime and games and stuff. And then it just turned into something like, I don't know, it just turned into something like so important, you
Yeah.
know? And like I never really thought that it could actually like do things for people. And when I realized like what a positive impact it can have on people, like I don't think I'll ever get burnt out because of that.
I love that. Yeah, there's just something to be said for creating something that's good for you, despite the ups and downs and like the constant pitfalls and, you know, like little things where you're like, I really want to play this game and say like, because like might be kind of a bad example, but like when Hogwarts came out
Mm-hmm.
and like all these big streamers were playing it and you're like, but you know, I don't really want to support J.K. Rowling
Yeah.
because she sucks, even though I know she didn't have a ton to do with it, but she does get paid for it. So it's like, you know, like,
Mhm.
I know she didn't really have anything to do with it, but she still sucks. Yeah, definitely this like those little things, but 100% in agreement with you. Like it's, you create this to be a good thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Once this becomes like, once Super Trav and all this stuff becomes like no longer fun, then I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
if it becomes like this, like less of a job and more of like a like I feel like I have to and I'm like dreading doing it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
What's some of your best streamer advice?
I think something really important that takes people a while to learn, including myself, is that it's so important to set boundaries. It is so important. And I think when people first start streaming, they're afraid of losing viewers because they have so little, you know, to start with, that it's like they're afraid of someone leaving. But I think it's more important because those people that are toxic and just like energy draining that you let into your community, if you don't do something about it and if they're making you and others uncomfortable, they're just going to keep scaring people away, you know, and you're just going to stress yourself out. And I put myself through that for a while. And something really crazy is that as soon as I started setting boundaries and being firm about my boundaries, I started seeing more growth.
Yeah.
More and more people started coming in, because the thing is, like, if you want to create a safe space for people, you know, you're leading a community. People are going to look to you to keep it a safe space. And if you're just letting it be like the Wild West in your stream, anything goes, like, people aren't going to respect you. And I feel like when you start to set boundaries, the right people will stay and respect you for it, and the wrong people will leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the most important advice I could give as a streamer is to set your boundaries and be clear with your boundaries. And also to be yourself, because I see a lot of streamers sometimes, like, they'll see a streamer that's more successful than them, and they'll try to emulate their mannerisms and everything they're doing because they think, you know, they have a lot of views. That's going to get me views too. But when you're not being yourself, like, people are going to see through that eventually, you know?
That non-genuineness, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think people are smarter than a lot of people give them credit for.
Oh yeah.
And people are more observant and intuitive than people give them credit for. And I feel like if you're not being yourself, like, it's going to be obvious
Oh yeah.
to a lot of people. So,
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I definitely think that there is, like, you can take kind of an idea from somebody and make it your own.
yeah. Yeah, like an inspiration thing. But I mean, like, I've seen bigger streamers and like smaller streamers that I know like follow them, and you'll go into their streams and they're like a carbon copy of that person.
Right.
And I feel like when you do stuff like that, it's going to be like really obvious to people.
Right.
You know, and it's like you're fine the way you are. You know, if you're feeling really insecure and you're having a hard time being yourself, maybe streaming's not, you know, the
For
best
you.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for just like, again, creating your own stream, your own world, whatever. And I mean, I think everybody takes from everybody. You know, you kind of like take an idea and you're kind of like, I want to make that mine somehow.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can see it on TikTok where people just blatantly steal jokes, like straight up, you know, because I've had it happen where like someone stole my joke and like we're mutuals. So I saw it and I'm like, I made that. You liked my video. What the?
Yeah.
You know? That was the joke I made.
There's a difference between like getting something inspired by somebody, like, you know, making like a channel point redemption where, you know, I don't know, someone gets a special role like in your channel or something and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cute, maybe I want to do something like that. That's a little different than just like straight up like taking a really unique idea and just like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, I stole is a is a heavy term for it. But there's a streamer that I watch and they always have some kind of point challenge going.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I like that because like
Yeah.
not everyone uses redeems all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. I mean, I call them point dragons because they're sitting on like 20,000 points or whatever. But
Yeah.
but like, I'm like, if I always have a challenge going, you know, at least there's a reason to look down there. And if my next one right now is I get to dress up as a sexy cat, right? Because of course it is. And I like that. I like that idea of always having that going. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take that, but I'm not like looking at their channel and being like, oh, they're dressing up as a sexy cat, so I have to dress up as a sexy cat. Like that's not it.
Yeah. Cause I mean, when people get inspired by stuff, like for a while I had a Pokemon pack opening redeem and a lot of mutuals started doing it and I was like, heck yeah, open those Pokemon cards. You know, stuff like that.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Or if like other people want to try painting Pokemon cards because they saw me painting and they're like, I want to try that. You know, stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, like that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But yeah, I've seen, I don't know. I've quite often seen people that just like take on someone's like mannerisms and like, I don't know. It's just like really strange because you could tell it's like being forced. And it's like, I'm sure you're cool the way you are.
Right.
You know? So just chill and be yourself. Like people are going to like that.
Right. You be inspired.
Yeah.
Absolutely be inspired. Don't just
Mhm.
steal, though.
Yeah.
Like if there are people out there, if there are dudes, I'll say specifically to the dudes, if there are dudes who want to paint their nails because I do it, then great.
Yeah.
Do that. But don't like start doing it or don't start like oh well my name what if I do like a Tyler Talks? Like, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
With like same overlay. And,
yeah, right. Like it's even yellow and red and I'm like that's oddly specific. Wondering why you kept asking me where I got the overlays and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that advice as well as being you're very be yourself.
Mhm.
Choose to be yourself, and you can borrow and inspire by other people. Absolutely, you know.
Yeah. And just be genuine.
Right, be yourself.
Yeah.
People will see through that non-genuine thing every time.
Yeah.
It might take a little longer for some because some people are really good actors, but it's
Yeah.
all you just know. I
Mhm.
remember watching a streamer for a while. His name was Send, and I think he was originally a a Super Smash like a Smash Bros like competitive guy, and even like would do like coaching on stream, which is really cool. But eventually he just like didn't really like he tried something else, and you could tell he just wasn't into it.
Mhm.
Like when he's coaching or doing like Smash Bros tournaments and stuff, he would just kind of like go through it and be like talking about like frame rates and blah 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 blah, all these little things, right? And then he tried, I can't remember exactly what he tried. I think he tried like a Call of Duty or something. It was just like
Mhm.
silent most of the time,
Mm.
and like dude, I don't know how to put this in a gentle way other than you look fucking bored.
Yeah. Oh, when you're passionate about something, people can tell. It's not always about the game that you're streaming.
Right.
Like,
That was just
for
an example, totally.
example, like Detective Pikachu is a very like underrated game that a lot of people don't really care about. It's
Mhm.
barely followed by anyone on Twitch. Nobody's streaming it, like nobody's watching it. But surprisingly, when I stream it, it does very well. And I think it's because I love that game so much and I get excited about stuff with it. And I
Right.
think that's more important than playing a game that like a lot of people like Call of Duty, Valorant, stuff like that.
Right.
Because when you really love something, people see that and I think they enjoy it. Like I love when people are talking about something that they're passionate about, even if I don't even know anything about it. When people's face and like eyes just like light up talking about something they're interested in, and I'm like, oh, you're really into otters of the Pacific Northwest. Tell me everything about it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoy that. And I think other people enjoy that too.
I love watching people light up is something that I love. And I said this about it before with my profession, specifically with being a child counselor, a child therapist, is like kids don't get listened to a lot. They really don't. And then when you, yeah,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
and you finally give them something, you give them any sort of platform, even like a couple of minutes to just spew everything they know about a topic. Like they love that. And it brings them all this joy in the world. And it could be something I have no interest in, right? It could be an anime I've never heard of, or it could be a game or something I've never heard of. And I'm just like, no, tell me about it. Tell me all, I want to know all the details.
I love that.
And they'll go for forever about it. And I'm like that's the kind of passion that you can see in people. And I don't want the kids to lose it. I don't want the kids to lose that.
Yeah. I get so offended when I see kids trying to tell an adult something and they're getting like completely blown off. Like, I'm not like a child therapist or anything, but if a kid ever starts telling me about something they like, I will sit there and listen like it is the most interesting subject ever.
Yeah.
Because like you said, kids don't get listened to enough. And
They don't.
I can't stand how adults blow them off so much, especially their own kids. It's like you should like encourage your kids to be passionate about things and talk about their passions. I think that's so important. I love that you create a space for them doing that. That must be cool. I mean, I'm sure it's kind of like a hard profession, but then there's like that positive, there's like that positive end, where you get to give kids a chance to like, talk about what they love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that showing of just, I've talked with parents about it too, because they run into it a lot where they're like, it feels like my parents never listened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And then we talk to the parents and they're like, no, we do listen, but like they try and tell us things at like kind of inappropriate times, or, they like at a really stressful time, or I just get home from work and they're telling me about this thing that I know nothing about. And so I'm like still in kind of work mode, and I'm like, oh, okay. So let's work out a system between you two. Like, hey, kiddo, when I get home from work, give me half an hour. You can even set a timer. Like, give me a half an hour, and then let's launch into whatever you're into. But I need that time to decompress, whatever. And kids don't quite get that. So, but they're like, I understand the concept of a timer. And so like it's that just that kind of creating this world for everybody that works, and then letting these kids explore their passions and talk about them, and even if it changes, because this is a little while ago, but I was like, your kid's really into SpongeBob, okay? Like, they're really into SpongeBob, and that's okay, because I know you haven't seen any of these episodes of the kids talking about, but just let them do it. Just let them go off and just, ask a couple questions, and they're gonna love it, and they're gonna feel so connected to you, and it's you don't even really have to quote unquote learn about it. You just now know.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool to create that passion, and then seeing that in content creators too, when they're truly, truly passionate about something, you're like, I want to follow this. I want to see where this person goes. And because they're really into whatever it is that they're talking about. Like, because you just like the way you just talked about Detective Pikachu got me kind of hype. I was just like, oh. I have not played it. I saw the movie.
That game is so good. I am telling you, it does not get enough credit. Like, when I first played it, like the first one, I'm playing the newer one right now, but when I played the first one, I had no expectations. I had low expectations for it. And even people in my community were like, this game has no business having a story this good. Like, we got so invested in that game.
Hell yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a game that like we had that same kind of experience for. Evolution Worlds. Do you remember that one? Probably not. I don't feel like anybody did. It was this American-made RPG, but they tried really, really hard to emulate any possible JRPG trope that they could. But then they said it with like British voice actors. It was weird, but the story's really good, and you're like, why this shouldn't be this good? Because it's like a 2003 GameCube game, and it's like, wow, no, this is cool. This is cool. I want to bring that back. But yeah, now I kind of want to just watch you play Detective Pikachu. Absolutely. What do you feel about launching into some Q&A action?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Let's do it.
Excellent. So everybody here in the audience, thank you for being here. First of all, I appreciate you. Big snaps to our guests here as well. If you have questions, they can be for me, they could be for Tabby, they can be for both of us. And like I said, they can be related to what we've been talking about or not related. We did kind of span quite a few topics here tonight. That happens when you both have ADHD, so. But I think we did all right. To be fair, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, we stayed on topic for the most part.
Yeah, I was trying really hard. So. Okay, Aaron Go says, where did you get your bat ear headphones?
I got them from Etsy. I got them from an Etsy seller.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, support those small businesses.
Yeah, they're super cute. I like the little, I like the piercings in them.
I know. I was so happy to find bat ears because I was wearing cat ears for a really long time.
Sure.
But I was like, man, I would love some bat ears. And yeah, I like scoured Etsy for them. And
Mhm.
there are some really talented ear makers for like basically any animal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really high quality. Yeah, I'm probably going to be collecting more colors and stuff now.
Nice.
But yeah, look on Etsy for stuff like this, because not only are you getting like really cool unique stuff, but you're also supporting a small business.
Mhm.
And as someone who has an Etsy, like that could be the difference between us like getting groceries and like paying a bill or something.
Absolutely. Small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. One of the questions that I had written down that had nothing to do with anything was most painful tattoo.
Here. Banana
Really?
finger. Yeah. It's all faded and I don't know if I'll ever get it touched up. My artist
just
always
rubs.
offers. Yeah, my artist offers like almost every time I get tattooed. She's like, "Hey, you want me to touch up your finger?" And I'm like, wait till next time." It is so painful.
That's so interesting.
So surprised. Yeah, it's so bad. Besides that, though, the rib cage for sure.
That is fair.
I'll never get that touched up either.
My partner has a hidden Mickey in her middle finger, and she's like that was nothing.
Really? Maybe
Yeah.
it depends on where.
Maybe I don't know, but she always says that the elbow is the most painful.
See, the elbow was chill for me.
That's so interesting. That's so weird.
I think maybe it depends on the person. There's parts that are universally bad, but I think sometimes it depends on the person.
Definitely. And I have a fear of them. So I have all these tattoo ideas, and I'm scared to put them on my body because I'm scared of needles. And I know they're different. Before the chat all jumps over me, I know they're different.
I was gonna say.
No, because I've literally been like with my partner when she's like getting them done, and like I watched my friend get their ear pierced or their tongue pierced rather, and like watching it isn't that bad, but it's something about like it going on me. I'm like,
it doesn't feel like a needle. I don't know if that helps. Like it feels like, to me, it feels like scratching a sunburn.
Still a needle.
So
Still
I
a
don't know.
needle.
I just don't look because I don't like needles either. So I just look away.
It's not the same. Still a needle. In fact, it's many needles. Anyway, for both of you, if you could pack up and visit a country, where would you go and why? This is just visit a country, so that changes things a little bit. Do you have an answer?
I would probably visit Japan
Ooh, good
because I've
choice.
never been, and I'm a huge freaking weeb. So I would probably save up a bunch of money and just go wild with like anime merch in Japan.
Yeah, Japan pops in mind for sure. I definitely want to go at least once in my lifetime. I also haven't been to Italy. And I think Italy would be a absolutely beautiful and historic trip. And just be so cool. And obviously food.
Oh, I love sushi, and I heard the Japan and sushi. The sushi in Japan is extremely like fresh and like really, really good.
It's as close to the ocean as you can pretty much get. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
I am a food person.
Yeah. So Japan or Italy, I think for me. That's tough though. Hard to pick one. Have you heard of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal?
What?
I sure have. I sure have.
What is that?
Someone's not on TikTok very much.
Oh no, at all.
I believe it is a Genshin Impact character, but that is their title. Like it's the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal.
Is that one of the newer characters?
It must be a new
The Fontaine characters?
maybe. But that was there's like a rhythmic nature to it. Like if you say it every time, Oratrice mécanique de Elise Cardinal, like there's like a rhythm to it. And people on TikTok ran all over that.
Huh.
So, I mean, where were you on that one? Genshin Impact, come on now. A game I
like Genshin, but
I played like maybe, I don't know, 10-ish hours of it.
Really? I play casually now, but I was hooked on it for a while.
I mean, once it got past like, because there's a certain point where you're like really, and I know it's how they hook you. It's the whole point of a gacha game. But like, you get to like this certain point, and then everything like takes forever to do.
Yeah, that's when I had to take a break. Yeah,
like,
that's when I had to take a break. The grinding got to like, it started feeling like a chore. And I think that happens to a lot of people with Genshin. They get burnt out because they overdo it with like the way you have to grind for stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a weird, I don't know. And I get it, it's because that's how they're supposed to hook you, right? There's like,
yeah,
because they want to get your little $5 for 10 crystals or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that adds up if everybody's doing it, but it's actually a scale, not a carrot. It's a scale?
Oh. It's probably, it sounds like it's from the newer area, which I haven't even caught up to. So,
I mean, like I said,
no idea. And I don't tick the talk, so.
No tick the talk? Honestly, good on you, if anything. I'll post little clips here and there on TikTok, and then I decided a while ago that if I have to do what always happens is if I like put in a ton of effort and I go through like I'm like even like possibly sometimes like writing or like making scripts and things like that, it became so tedious, and they wouldn't do anything. Like there would be no numbers. It wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But then I do something like my most popular TikTok has like a bunch of views and a bunch of likes, and I thought it was a joke I thought of in 10 seconds.
Algorithm is tricky.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what's gonna get picked up.
Yeah, it was a joke I thought of it in 10 seconds, and it blew up. And I was just like, I wrote a script for this other one. This is bullshit.
Well, what was it?
It's a Stitch where somebody is cosplaying a Persona character. I don't know which one. And I'm holding I have a little collection of swords, and I'm holding my big old Zweihander, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this, you want to do this, let's do this. And he just the Persona character pulls out a gun, and I just say, oh fuck, and then it's over. 10 seconds I thought of that joke. I think I took 2 takes to make it.
Oh my gosh.
Blew up.
Oh.
And another one where I wrote a script and like had characters in mind and was like, I want to like shoot it from like this kind of angle. Like 250 views. What the man? For both of you, what is your biggest pet peeve when streaming?
When streaming? I don't know. Trying to think what bothers me.
I've gotten good at not letting a lot of things like bother me.
Yeah.
I think there are little things that I'm just kind of like, you kind of have to like throw your hands up when, like, for instance, when people like complain about ads, like, what do you want me to do, man? Like,
yeah, I think that's rude.
Like I could set it. You can like you can set it to have like 22 minutes of ads per hour if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
You can drive that way up if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but like when people are like, "Oh, you run a bunch of ads," and I'm like, "I really don't."
I guess I would say if someone like argues with a mod or like
Mm-hmm.
argues about the rules, like they start questioning the rules, it's like
Yeah.
you don't get to do that. Like, this is my space. I have rules in place for a reason.
Right.
So, or like, because I've had people say some like out of pocket stuff, and I'm like, that's not appropriate. And, you know, they're bothered that I'm bothered instead of apologizing. They'd rather get angry about it. That's annoying to me.
Yeah.
But most stuff, a lot of stuff doesn't really get to me. And I'm like, to my mods, I'm like annoyingly patient with people.
Oh,
I'm like extremely patient with people.
my God.
Much to the disdain of my mods.
Yeah.
They say I put up with too much, but like, I don't know. I always try to think, like, I give people the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Sure.
Like, what if they're neurodivergent? What if they didn't mean it that way? Like, you don't know for sure, you know?
Right.
So, but my mods are always like, you should have just let me ban them, but
I was ungodly patient with this one person for so long, and I like and my mods will tell you about it too, like Scuba and Aaron and all these people can tell you about it. I was so patient and generous with this person because I knew they also were mentally ill, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and be patient, and like they every so often would just be like, why don't, you know, they'd say something kind of offhandle like, you know, what is like, why don't homeless people just get a job? And I'm like, it's not that easy, man. Like, you know, here, let me explain why there are systematic barriers to that, you know, and then we can talk about it. And then he would just kind of say like, yeah, they're just lazy. And I'm like, okay. Like, kind of rude. Maybe you haven't been in that position.
yeah,
You know, I don't know. Just like kind of trying to be as patient as possible. And those kinds of things like happen like 3 or 4 times. and Scuba can back me up on it, and other people too. And they eventually got to the point where they said, I was talking about Taylor Swift. And I don't like, while I don't really particularly care for Taylor Swift music, there's a couple bangers, but like, I don't particularly care for it. I'm like, whatever, like, but I respect Taylor Swift for like how she just exploded, you know, and the hustle of being like, that's interesting that I'm not allowed the masters to my music because like you make the money for my music. What if I get so fuck you rich that I buy my shit back? You know, I'm like,
that's a boss move.
I'm like, what a boss move, right? And but this dude said, oh, well, Taylor Swift is what Andrew Tate is for men is to women.
What?
Scuba, back me up, man. That was a legit comment.
Oh.
That was a legit comment.
No. Oh no.
For real. And I was like, no.
Oh my God.
No, and I know you know C Diddy.
Yeah.
And C Diddy was there, and he's like, I've never seen Travis get like legitimately mad on stream, and that was the first time I've ever seen him get angry with somebody.
Yeah, that would have been a ban on my channel for
It
sure.
was. It was. I was like, I like, because even at one point, like one of the early like offenses, I guess, was like, he was just like, well, you know, I really respect J.K. Rowling, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I have good memories attached to Harry Potter, but like, I don't like her.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, like you have to like her because like she made like one of your favorite series, and I'm like, no, I don't.
No.
No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. I can say, fuck her, and also have the good memories attached to Harry Potter because I do. Like, I did have. I'm with you, Sabrina. Like, I like quite literally, like, it was. I was like, But there's a difference here. Like I can have the good memories and it can exist where she sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
So that like, and there was another one of those, and I was like so patient. And the Andrew Tate thing set me over the edge.
It set it over the edge.
I've never been so like angry on stream, I don't think.
I had a situation kind of like that where I was like patient with someone and they said something that sent me over the edge. I think we were talking about, I think it was every year I do a Pride mental health stream where, and like allies show up to listen to our stories and, we keep it open to where, it is a trigger warning because a lot of us have gone through like really messed up stuff.
Yeah. Trauma.
And this person was already kind of like teetering as it was, and they straight up said like, I don't mind if people want to be that way, but just keep it away from the kids. And I instantly you could tell I was pissed. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is why, like, people like me, trigger warning everybody, tried to take their own life when they were a teenager. Because we didn't get representation. People were like, keep it away from the kids. And you're making kids feel like there's something wrong with them. And you're making them hate themselves. Like, we need to let kids know that there are people like them and that it's okay. I was so pissed. So I'm like, you could get the fuck out of here. And they tried to say, I retract my statement, but I hit ban like right after they said that.
Nope.
That's an instant ban. Yeah, Sabrina was there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is such a cool, I like that stream a lot. That's such a cool idea. I hope to see it when it comes back around. Because while I'm not a part of the community myself, I absolutely support the shit out of anything LGBTQIA+.
Yeah. And I think it's important for and I think it's important for allies to like listen to that stuff too, so people can understand like how hard it is for some of us. And then at the same time, it's like those of us that are in the community, it's healing for us to talk about those things with each other. Mm-hmm. And it helps people feel like they're not alone. Like the story I shared, I'm not going to get all into it because it's a long story, but the story about the traumatizing thing that the church did to me, I actually had my own cousin message me after that and tell me that they did the same thing to her. And, it's just people, you never know when someone's going to hear your story and be like, oh my God, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really important. And I think it's really healing for some of us to talk about these things. And I think it's very informative to other people to hear, oh my gosh, like this is the type of stuff that, people in that community go through.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I love, like, I like being able to use this platform. Like part of TravTalks is being able to like hear people's stories and like hearing about, things that it may have either happened or how they overcame them. And we're all content creators, so might as well talk about that as a little bit as well. Like, while not everybody in chat is also a content creator, like people can, learn about that side of things too, kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. And like I was asking, I asked B like a little bit about like content creation. I was just like, do you have like thoughts about like what you put on stream and like how you do it? She was like, yeah, I actually think about it a lot, but like we only see the final product. We see like the come out and do the things and immediately, the final product, how this is so pretty and all these things. But yeah, and I like being able to use, just on a personal note of just like, I like being able to use the knowledge that I have as a literal therapist to help people. Like, I like the ask me any question you got about mental health. Like, I don't know every single thing in that big old purple book. And I have my problems with the book because it was written by a bunch of old white dudes. Wow, weird. But I like being able to use that knowledge and being like, I'm not sitting here therapizing. I'm not going to do that. That's not my jam. But I will talk to you about like, this is kind of what that sounds like. Here's how you access mental health. Like pulling back that curtain, because that is such like a hard thing for people to like comprehend. Like no one teaches you how to find a therapist.
Yeah.
That's not a thing we're just taught. And if you type in Google find a therapist, it's just going to be like BetterHelp or the online services that are, you know, kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you're not taught those kinds of things. We did miss a question earlier, real quick. Unless you had anything you wanted to add there.
Nope.
Okay. For both of you, what is your biggest dream in life? Not necessarily your streaming dream, just your biggest in life. That's a big question.
I think just to be able to wake up every day and feel happy and secure and not have to worry about how my life's gonna go, how am I gonna eat, how am I gonna pay rent, that kind of stuff. Just to be like, I don't know, just to be content and have good people in my life. I think that's the most important thing. And lots of pets.
Lots of pets. Lots of pets. I did see a cat walk by earlier, so.
Oh, you saw him?
All I saw was like the tail, so. But it was like a submarine. It just kind of like scooted by. That's a big question. Pipe dream, I would love to just be like fucking big rock star status. Like go out and like perform all the time. Like that would be such a cool job. And I know that there's like the hard things, and you hear all the horror stories from the road and whatnot, and the pitfalls of fame and all those things. But I don't know, like something about that like almost like calls to me. I'm like, I want it. Well, your answer's a lot sweeter than mine. So.
Oh no, I think that's totally cool.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the ultimate answer would be just like to feel happy and to make happy. Like I want to be happy myself, but also be able to make happy with others.
Yeah.
Be able to show them, you know, I care, like that they're cared about, or if that's not how you make them happy, then maybe making them happy includes making them laugh, or the performance thing where that's what makes them happy. Like being able to go out and play or make music, like that would be so that would just feel so good to be able to make others happy in that scenario.
Yeah.
While also feeling very happy myself. Yeah, for us in the Army, we do have ease of access to mental health care, but it's very hit or miss and frowned upon if you seek help. I was talking with somebody who may get to appear on TravTalks, subtle plug, about their time in the Army. They're a veteran, and talking about how those kinds of things went. So, subtle plug. Maybe not so subtle plug. What about you, Tabby? Do you have any random questions that popped in that ADHD brain of yours?
Oh gosh, random questions. Wait, what instrument do you play?
I was originally going for vocal performance.
Oh.
When I was
For what genre?
Well, when I was in college, that's what I was doing. So I mean, I'm like you, I'm a big old metal dude, but I don't have a metal voice. But I have, like, I just love to sing and make music, and big on hair metal. And you don't have to have a metal voice for hair metal. You can just get out there and wail. So
True.
but I play piano and I can play drums and
oh, that's cool.
a little tiny bit of guitar, but but it's like Mary Had a Little Lamb is like as close as I can get, you know. Like,
do you do music streams ever?
It's kind of a sad story. I was really, really, really poor at one point. And I had to sell like all my stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Aw.
I had to sell a ton of stuff. Which was really unfortunate. But I would love to get a keyboard back just to start, even if it's like a MIDI keyboard, like I'd be fine with just doing that. I didn't have like crazy hard attachment to any of the instruments, but it was definitely like that sucks, you know?
Yeah.
It's because it was a source of joy, but I could sell my instruments or not eat. So,
Oh.
because that was my grad school experience.
Mm.
Definitely a bummer. Metal Trav is the next evolution. Bro, if I could be Metal Trav, but also be able to like drop the fucking underscore, I'd be so into it.
Oh, that would be cool.
There's a Super Trav channel. It's a German channel. Hasn't streamed in like 12 years. I'm like, please.
See, we got to get you to partner so you could steal the name.
Can I have?
You can't do that.
I
That's
know.
how Jin did it. I don't know if you follow Jin, but that's how Jin dropped his underscore.
Oh, Rare Gangster did the same thing. Yeah, when she got to drop her underscore when she became partner. I'm like, please.
I know it sucks when you want a name, but like some account that hasn't been active in forever has that name. I'm like, you don't need it as much as I do. Give it to me.
I put it on the. It's on the sign. Please. What's up, Hot Choco?
Choco. Hi, Choco.
For both of you, if you could travel back in time and tell your 10-year-old self one piece of advice, what would you say?
Oh, wow.
10 years old? So 5th or 4th grade?
Like 5th grade, 4th
fifth grade?
Oh, man. You got anything? You want to go first? That's a tough one.
My brain went to a silly place and also a sad place, so I'm trying to go with which one. I don't know, wear rubber, but also like that's a good one. Some good advice. But oh, that's tough. That's tough. You are, John. Absolutely. I appreciate these questions.
I don't know. Mine's probably a sad one, so I don't know if are we both just gonna be sad?
We can't. I was gonna kind of shorten it a little bit. It was gonna basically say my advice would be like, there's gonna be this person in your life that you need to not get involved with.
Like a warning.
Yeah, it's a specific. It's a very specific person, and they should not have been a part of your life. But that's the very shortened, non-traumatic version. To the best of my ability.
I don't know. I think mine would be like, in a couple of years, you're gonna go, I guess, through some confusing changes, but just know that there's nothing wrong with you.
I like
And
that.
you're not going to hell, and you're gonna find people who are going to treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, nothing wrong with you is definitely something that I would tell my 10-year-old self. There's nothing wrong with you, man.
Yeah.
You're a little weird, and that's absolutely okay. Just crying stream. All right, here we go. Yeah, so Hot Choco, we did the TravTalks. We did all like the kind of interview portion, and now it's just time for any sort of questions related to what we were talking about or not related. For instance, I asked what her favorite middle evolution was, and it happened to be her favorite Pokemon. So that worked out really well. Honestly, I would have guessed Bulbasaur just because I see like entire shelf of Bulbasaur, but
Oh, I love Bulbasaur though. Don't get me wrong. He's my favorite starter and probably my second favorite Pokemon.
okay.
But yeah, I'm a Bulby fan.
I get it. I get it. I went on hard mode and picked Charmander though, because
I mean, he's pretty cool.
he is pretty dope. For both of you, what is one thing you did today that you're proud of yourself for?
Oh, that's a wholesome question.
AG is also studying to become a therapist.
Aw.
And I'm like, I wanted to look directly at Karen. That's so therapist-y of you. And I would know. I like it though. It's a good question. I went to the gym today.
Oh, that is definitely something to be proud about.
I went to the gym today, and it's been so ungodly cold here that I really didn't want to go, but I did.
You know what? It's easy to make excuses not to work out or not to go to the gym.
100%.
So you should be proud of yourself for that.
Yeah.
I took the time to work on art today, which I
Really?
haven't done in a while. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, I think I would say that.
That's a good one. I like it. If you were to wipe your memory of a game to replay the story all over again, what game and why? That's a good question too. Like you get to experience a game's story for the first time again. That's a really good
I
one.
would say Final Fantasy 6 or 7.
Both good answers.
One of those. Because I enjoyed those stories so much.
Oh, Tara's my girl. I'm with you.
Oh, yes. 6 is amazing.
Yeah. First time ever? I went to the Final Fantasy in my mind because like 9 is probably my favorite. Final Fantasy 9 is probably my favorite. I love the theming. They're all about theming. Now I'm trying to think like story wise and not just like gameplay wise. It's like gameplay, like I'd go with like Mega Man X. Like the very first time I played Mega Man X, I was like, this is gaming, this is forever. I love this, you know? Ah. Well, while you like talk about why 6 or 7 for a second, and I'm gonna keep thinking.
Well, I was focusing on story too, because for gameplay, I would probably do Metroid Prime, just because that's like one of my favorite games ever. But just the story was so good for both. And 7 was my first Final Fantasy.
It's a lot of people's
And yeah, and the whole story is just so good. But I do think that if 6 was my first Final Fantasy, that it might be my favorite Final Fantasy. I just played 6 this last year for the first time.
Really?
And yeah, I played the Pixel remaster, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, the story was just, I don't know. I just felt really connected to the story and characters and, you know, to both Celeste and Terra. Like it just really, I don't know. I just felt really connected to the story and it was just so good and it was so challenging. In like the best way.
No doubt.
When I beat Kefka, I was so fucking proud of myself because
You should be.
it took a few tries and I level grinded, but Final Fantasy 6 is not one of those games where you could just OP your levels and just win because Kefka is such a hard boss that I was so proud of myself for like strategizing and thinking of new ways to like actually beat him. So gosh, I just love that game so much. Like, it quickly became just like one of my top favorite games ever.
That is a good one. And Final Fantasy loves their Deicide, so well, the band too maybe, but like but they love killing gods.
They do.
Oh, that's a really good point. It might be 9. Like that's just what keeps sticking with me, and I'm sure. I mean, I got all the daddy issues in the world, so like the new God of Wars, like both of the new God of War games were like daddy issue central. So like if I were to experience that again for the first time, because they were both really cathartic for me, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, 9 had this theme of like evolution of the self, you know, like every character from beginning to end like changes. Like even the characters
9 is on my list.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
Yeah. But
Okay.
go on. I just wanted to say that just in case, like, no spoils.
No spoils.
I'm planning on playing it this year. So
No spoils. The beauty in the beauty of 9 for me is every character that you get to be in your party / a lot of them that you also just kind of meet and their side characters, they evolve, they like change, their personality changes, the way they talk to you changes, and it's this really cool theme of improving upon the self in such a way that you become your own kind of master of your destiny. And it's got Vivi. Everybody loves Vivi.
he's so cute. Like, I haven't even played the game, but I love him already.
And I mean, you're gonna love it even more because he's best boy.
Final Fantasy is just a whole series is incredibly good at storytelling.
It is.
Like, there's plenty of Final Fantasy games I haven't played that I plan on playing, but the ones that I have played, like, I've never not cried from a Final Fantasy game. Like, I've always just been so, like, touched by, like, every Final Fantasy game. Every story has just, like, I don't know, it's just, like, really, like, sticks to you. They're just so good at storytelling. Even the older games with, you know, the old graphics and the pixels and stuff, like, they still are able to convey, like, emotion and story. And I get it why Final Fantasy is just such a loved series.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm currently working on 16 in our channel. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Subtle plug. But we'll be but yeah, it's this cool, they're all so different and they all have such, the theming is always so important to them. Like I think like it was the creator the series creator that was like, yeah, they basically like they have to have crystals is like kind of like the big piece, and the rest of it can be whatever it wants to be, you know. I'm like, dope. Probably choose Hollow Knight or Resident Evil 4. Ooh, Resident Evil 4 is a good one, but Hollow Knight is incredible.
That's a beautiful game.
If you're a Metroidvania fan at all, Hollow Knight's the way to go. It is it's a modern masterpiece of Metroidvania games.
Yeah, it's aesthetically too. It's just really beautiful. I like sat for hours and watched my wife 100% it, and I was always just fully invested in just like seeing that happen. It's such a cool, like, beautiful game.
100%. Play Hollow Knight.
Top tier soundtrack too.
Yep. You know what? Can I change my answer to that other game?
Yes.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Ooh.
If I could go back and do Symphony of the Night all over again, 100% would do it.
What about anime series?
I liked it.
No. I mean, like, if you could erase your mind from one anime series and watch the whole thing over again.
That's a good one. I was like Castlevania. Yeah, it was good. I liked it, but I totally understand that I have a bias toward Castlevania. We got some Wolf's Rain, Yu Yu Hakusho. Those are good ones. Those are good ones. Do you have an answer?
You know what? As generic as it sounds, because I know we were talking about like people like gatekeeping anime and stuff like that.
Sure.
I have the most like pumpkin spice basic answer for my favorite anime, which is Naruto Shippuden. I feel like I would experience that all over again. I don't know. The story once it hit Shippuden, because in the beginning it was kind of like it was okay, but once it hit Shippuden, it just got so good, and I was attached to so many characters, and they just had such great backstories that I think I would definitely experience it all over again. And it's a long series, so it'd be a nice full experience.
You get to be able to do the whole thing again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be able to erase every piece because I haven't seen every piece. But like if I could go back to like when like 8-year-old Travis saw DBZ for the first time, and like if I got to like experience like that like full like hell yeah moment every like every episode, I could do that again. I would do that again.
I love DBZ. That's like a comfort anime for me. I've been rewatching it again for like the 20th time. It's like one of those things where like, you know how sometimes you put like music on for background, and like sometimes I'll put anime on for background, and DBZ is a big one for me. That is one of my favorites. If you can't tell by some of the stuff I have back here, I love DBZ. Wait, okay. I know this is ADHD of me, but who's your favorite Dragon Ball character, DBZ, and Dragon Ball Super? One from each.
But like, okay. Oh, that's tough. What if, okay. See, I like the I like the Frieza series.
Oh, that's the best villain saga to me.
Right? That's what I was thinking. Like I was kind of like, I'm kind of meh on Broly, to be honest. I know that might be kind of blasphemy, but like,
No, I'm not like huge on Broly either.
like I think like I get it. Like I get why they like went for that.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like, I don't know. They were just like, what if we made like Goku fight himself? And they were like, that's not a bad idea, but like, what if we made him like bigger than Goku? Oh my god. Does he have any like will he have like a really cool like inner dialogue about himself? No. Broly has no words.
I mean, they did Goku Black in Super.
That's true. But that created like they created a dialogue, but then with Broly they were just kind of like, he's just gonna scream a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big chunk of DBZ anyway.
No, and don't get me wrong. But yeah, I like Frieza a lot. I mean, kind of a pumpkin spice answer, but like Vegeta's the guy, you know.
Oh, that's my favorite DBZ character.
Yeah, Vegeta's the guy.
Yeah.
I like the Beerus saga. I mean, I like that.
I love Beerus. From Super, I think Beerus is probably my favorite.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was trying to think. I was trying to space him out in my brain too. I was like, well, no, like Cell was part of Z. Oh, was he part of Z? You know?
Sometimes they mesh together a little bit.
They all do for me. I don't know. You're like sitting there like, like, because I feel like kind of an old man a little bit when it comes to it. Like, there's so much Dragon Ball Z at this point, or Dragon Ball at this point, that my brain just kind of goes, it's the Goku show, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's the one with the guy in orange, you know.
Oh, I love Whis, Loba. Whis is sassy in the best way.
It's true. That is true. Yeah, so I think those are my answers.
What about Dragon Ball though?
That's
I like Piccolo, but like it's because he ended up being good later, and I'm always drawn to like the anti-hero.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, when you go to Dragon Ball, it's gotta be, and there weren't that many characters back then either. So
Yeah.
yeah, Piccolo's a good answer for sure, because he definitely starts out as just kind of an ass, and then
Yeah.
they reel it back in. What's your favorite kind of weather and why?
Favorite weather? Gloomy and like 60 to 70 degrees. And gloomy but no rain.
So the Pacific Northwest is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Lived up in Oregon for a good 10 years almost. In Washington for 4, so you get used to it.
See, that's perfect for me. And I'm not too far from Washington, and we were thinking about getting a house there eventually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Because we're in California right now, so
Right.
we wouldn't be too far from everybody.
Yeah. Got a lot of family in California, but mostly in the southern part. They're the
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
San Bernardino Valley. That's kind of where a lot of my family's at.
No, that's a little far. I'm
Yeah.
like LA area.
Oh yeah, no, they're further
Yeah.
south. But it's great there. I like being there.
Mhm.
But they're very they're waspy, but also Catholic.
Mm.
So if you can figure
Mm.
out a fun, little thing for that. I don't know. It's fun showing up with my partner, because my partner's got like green hair and is covered in tattoos, and I've got like my long hair and painted nails, and they're all just like, "Oh, it's cousin Travis."
I love that though.
No,
I
like it
would
too.
totally take the label of that's the weird cousin. Like,
Oh yeah, I do.
that's a badge of honor.
I do. I love it, because I can just show, "What's up, sluts?" And I could just be like, let's see here. I think that was all the questions that I saw. Oh, I didn't answer the weather question. I know it's a basic answer too, but I like I'm a sun guy. I like to photosynthesize.
Mm.
It like being out in the sun can fill me with energy. So like when I was working at schools and I had like summers off, and being able to like just like take the dog and be outside, and so good. So good. Let's see here. Cold and wet weather. Nothing wrong with it. No, I lived up in the Pacific Northwest for a while, so
Mm.
nothing wrong with up there. What's your favorite plant?
Rosemary.
Oh, that was a really cute answer. All right. That was really cute and nice, because my brain went like a yucca plant. Just because it's fun to say. Watch out for the yucca. Audrey too. That's a good plant. That's a good plant.
Oh.
The little chompy guys maybe from Mario.
Well, Piranha plants?
Yeah,
Aww.
I like those guys. I love the little piranha plants. Put yourself in an RPG setting in your party squad. What will your role be? A tank, a DPS, a support, a healer, etc. What would your role be?
Probably the drunk rogue.
Ooh, the rogue. Okay. He's quick and steals things. The piranha plant. I don't know. I love. I'm like a large person. Like I'm like about 6 feet tall and I'm like 200 pounds. Like I'm a big person. But I would love the idea of like the biggest dude being like a healer.
I love that.
Or being a total glass cannon type of thing.
Oh.
Like I'm
It's
basically
like a mage.
Yeah. Trav should be a bard. I've heard that before. I've heard that I should be singing and trying to fuck everybody. Apparently, is what bards do. I don't know. I've never played D&D. I want to be the tank. Everyone else's pain is now just my own. Plus, I like the big shield and bonk enemies with giant club. That's a great answer.
Plus, Choco is adorable. It'd be like a little teddy bear tank.
Oh.
And the idea of that makes me smile.
That is adorable. I do like that. I do like being able to bonk as well.
Mm.
What's a certain herb you can buy at Scarborough Fair that would take a long time to count? Well, Sir Arajan, I'm pretty sure that would be time. I see your game. Sacrificial lamb, just dive right in and go splat. Create a distraction so others would win. Y'all are so like self-sacrificing. Like you can be, you're a part of the team. You have a team for a reason. DPS
Oh my
mage, that's a good
gosh.
one.
Sabrina, stop it. And Choco, I think Choco missed what I said about him. Choco, I said you'd be like a cute little teddy bear tank.
It would
Choco's
be cute.
heckin' adorable.
It would be very cute. If anybody else has any other questions, I got a few more minutes here. In the meantime, Tabby, is there anything that you would like to plug? I'm about to pull up your all my links or whatever. If you give me 2 seconds, because I had it copied and now it won't work. So.
Oh, no worries. I don't know, stream-wise, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, 6 p.m. PDT. Thursday, I'm cosplaying King Boo, and we're finishing Luigi's Mansion with crowd control, which should be pretty fun. And I also have an Etsy shop. I do a lot of fan art stuff, and I also make roll-on perfumes based on animes and things like that. So, yeah. And I'm casually trying to grow my YouTube. I'm maybe a couple hundred away from the 1,000 that you need for the YouTube, but yeah.
Hell yeah, that link tree. That is Tabitha's link tree. Click on it.
Do you want to plug anything? Since some of my
Everything.
community's here.
Sure. I have the socials. I got all the social stuff. I got the Twitter, the Instagram, and the TikTok. The TikTok is where all the nice and low effort content goes. Because I refuse now. I refuse to put a ton of time into it. If a TikTok takes like 25 minutes to film, I'm like, I'm not posting. I'm done. You know. I also have a YouTube. I know it's not staggering in terms of numbers, but I'm almost at 200, which is pretty good. We're not gonna do any sort of comparison or anything like that. And
Let
if
me make
socials
sure.
and if socials and stuff are not your jam, bam, you got a Discord. I post a lot of memes, and you can post a lot of memes, and then we can share memes together and forget where we stole which Discord from, which thing we stole from, and it's like take a meme, leave a meme type of thing. And then I will only bother you like every other day with an @everyone tag. How about that? Does that sound like a good deal? It's like every other day. I don't like to @everyone every single day, you know?
Yeah, I try to be scarce with those two.
Yeah, same. I'm the same way. I do. There are some that I'm a part of where they're like, it's like every like, it's like 5 or 6 a day, and I'm like, guy, I'm not gonna check these out of spite. I did see what was your favorite Sesame Street character. I am a Cookie Monster guy,
Me too.
100%.
Now he eats vegetables, and that kind of bums me out a little bit. Like, I get why, but like, also I'm like, no.
I feel like he
he's
should do both. Like, I feel like that would be the best like message, right? It's like you can do both.
Yeah.
Rather than just he's the veggie monster now. It's like,
It's okay to treat yourself sometimes.
right. You shouldn't overindulge in cookies. In the same way that you shouldn't have like 15 tons of celery, you know?
Yeah.
You could do veggie cookies. Absolutely. One of my partners is vegan, and they cook all the vegan stuff. And vegan stuff has
Oh.
come a long way.
It has. It has.
I'm not vegan, and they're cool with it, but it's like they're like, you should try it. And I'm always just like, incredible.
Yeah, with like the Beyond Meat stuff, the Impossible Burger and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Yeah, they're really good.
I did just make vegan burgers with them the other day, and I was like, this is a jam.
Mm.
And because it like doesn't taste like. I remember having like a veggie patty when I was a kid and being like, this tastes like dirt, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I went vegetarian in high school and stayed that way for a few years, and yeah, it's definitely come a long way.
A really long way.
Yeah.
Which is dope. Did you see favorite emo song / artist and why? Oh, that's really tough.
Mm.
Just one?
I don't have an answer because I don't listen to emo. I'm sorry.
Unfollowed. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
It's not screamy enough. I think there's so many. There's so many good ones. What am I supposed to do? One of, because I don't think I could ever pick just one as far as emo music goes, but one of my favorite songs ever, especially in the emo world, is The Ghost of You by My Chemical Romance. Incredible song, incredible video, so good, I'm gonna get fired up about it.
I will YouTube it
It's classic.
and I will watch it.
It's classic. But then emo artist, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like some of the ones that like got me into it. So like Escape the Fate and Get Scared and things like that. Or like early Bring Me the Horizon. You'd be more into early Bring Me the Horizon. They were like deathcore.
Mm.
Now they're more concerned with making money, which I don't blame them, because you have to stay alive somehow.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many like black metal bands call it quits so fast because like it's just not lucrative, you know?
Yeah.
Go to fast food order. From where though?
Yeah, that's true.
From like the classics, or so we're talking like Wendy's, McD's, things like that. I pretty much refuse to go to Burger King or Subway. Can't do Subway anymore.
Mm.
But I managed a Subway for a little over a year, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, I know all the dirty secrets.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't tell me anything because I get Subway sometimes.
You shouldn't, but do your thing.
Oh, okay.
No,
Guess
you
I'll
do
just
you.
make-
You do you.
I'll make sandwiches at home now. It's fine.
Yeah. From your favorite fast food place. Okay. The first thing that came to mind was just like a spicy chicken from Wendy's.
Mm.
And then you got the fries and the Frosty, and I'm good to go.
You gotta dip the fries in the Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I like the grilled cheese from In-N-Out and animal fries.
Oh, that's a good choice.
They make a bomb grilled cheese. I've gotten like all my friends hooked on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I hadn't thought. Oh. See, the first time I got In-N-Out obviously was in California for the very first time. And they're like, you have to go, it's so good, so good. And like I remember being like, it's a burger, you know, like I don't think it's gonna blow anybody's socks off, but it's a decent burger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever tried the grilled cheese.
People overhype it up. But
Absolutely.
the grilled cheese is good. It's basically everything that comes on the burger, but with like a shitload of cheese.
And no meat, I assume.
Yeah, no meat. So instead of the meat patty, they just put a shitload of cheese. It's really good.
Well, that would be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's an In-N-Out not far from here, so.
And you have to get extra pickles.
Oh, I don't like pickles.
If you like, oh, you don't like pickles?
No.
Oh, well then.
But I
try it. But try it though.
I give it to
No
other
pickles.
people. I'm not the throw the pickle away. I'm like, give me the pickle on the side and I'll give it to somebody.
Oh, I'm the friend that will take that.
Oh yeah. Taco truck tacos. That's a good. Yeah. I mean, if there's gonna be a food truck around, absolutely go for those.
Yeah. Oh, we have good Mexican food here.
California,
LA is just
absolutely.
like, yeah, just a capital for the best taco trucks.
Best Mexican food I ever had was in San Diego. Which
Ooh, San Diego has good Mexican food too.
which makes all the sense in the world because it's like you can throw a rock and hit Mexico. So.
Yeah. You have to also go to Pizza Port if you've never been in San Diego. Best
Pizza Port?
Pizza Port.
Okay.
Great pizza, amazing beer selection.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Which brings up the question, are you going to TwitchCon this year? It's in San Diego.
It is in San Diego in September.
Mhm.
I don't know. I missed out on the Vegas one. And that's a whole lot closer than San Diego, but
Oh.
because I'm here in Denver, so it's like it is tempting. But after last year, I also heard all the horror stories, so it's like
From Vegas though, because I went to TwitchCon the year before last in San Diego, and it was great.
yeah.
San Diego's a super chill place. So.
Oh yeah, I love San Diego. Fantastic spot.
Mm-hmm.
Debating. Think so. I think so. Can attest. She took me there a couple months ago. Geeky's got the review.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. Geeky met up with us to see Cannibal Corpse
Hell yeah.
in San Diego. Yeah, we went to Pizza Port and saw them. It was cool.
Well, if you're gonna be all the way down to San Diego for you, absolutely.
Yeah, it's only a couple hours from me for San Diego, so it's not too bad.
I'm weird that I really like California drivers. I know.
What?
I know, because everybody, like everyone's aggressive,
Hmm.
as opposed to like this weird half and half where some people are aggressive, so they look like assholes, but everyone else is like really passive, and like
Hmm.
so you can't like really
Hmm.
choose which one you're gonna be.
Hmm.
Right? So like in Portland, where I was living for a while, everyone's really a passive driver. People are going the speed limit, maybe a little under, and it drives me crazy, but that's the way it was. Um, but in California, everyone's aggressive.
That's true.
Like you make moves. And like don't fuck around.
True. I don't know. I'm one of those passenger princess people.
I hear
So Blasphemous in chat is my wife. I call her my driving queen because
Driving
I'm like an
queen.
anxious, like just let me be your passenger princess because I get lost easy, I miss my turns, and I'm anxious the whole time. So
That's fair. That's fair.
and I'm blind at night.
Oh. Well that would just
Yeah.
change things a little bit. That means you're in charge of holding food and stuff though.
Yeah,
Or serving fries on the drive.
I do.
Hell yeah.
I do.
That's a good passenger princess then. So my wife's the same way. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Anybody else? Otherwise, of course, make sure that you're checking out. Whoops. Make sure that you're checking out all the links right there. It's the same one, but check it out 4 times. Thank you so much, Tabby, for being a part of this. This was a ton of fun.
It was.
Thank you for your openness and talking about a little bit of your history. And I'm proud of us for not letting the ADHD just like fire off. You know, like
Me too.
I was like, it was there. It definitely like popped up a couple of times. But it was like, no.
Well, thank you for helping me feel comfortable talking because I get really nervous being on other streams and I get super shy, but my anxiety was pretty low here. So
I'll take that. I am a therapist after all. But yeah, that means a lot. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you to the Pumpkin Patch, those of you in the Pumpkin Patch who showed up. Super friends and Pumpkin Patch people. Love that. I'm part of both. I love that. Tabby, do you have someone that you'd like us to raid today? And you are more than welcome to use my raid emotes, your own raid emotes, anybody else's raid emotes. I don't give a shit, as long as you let them know. And we're gonna change it a little bit. We're gonna say a super Tabby raid.
I'm kind of leaning. Do you know Steel Wolfie?
I do.
You do? I was kind of leaning towards her because she just went live a little while ago. And I think she's cosplaying one of my favorite comic book characters today.
Rogue.
Yes.
X-Men?
Yes.
Nice.
And she's super sweet.
She is super sweet. Yeah, I'm always just like, that's crazy. Because it's funny because I'm like, yeah, you've been live so long every time I'm like off. But she's like, yeah, it's like 8 p.m. here. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of the late night people that I raid fairly often.
It helps
just because I
she's in
know
Hawaii, you know?
Yeah. Plus I know I'm sending people to a good place. And
100%.
yeah, she's a good like late night streamer. So
yeah. Well, let's do that then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the Pumpkin Patch and all you lovely, lovely people. Let's do, how do I spell it? There it is. I can spell things. playing a little bit of Final Fantasy 16, which, just for funsies, I'm doing tomorrow.
Yay.
So once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Tabby, for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
I had fun too. Have you been told you look like Amy Lee?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've also been told I look like Katy Perry. I would get that all the time.
With the bangs, I see the Katy Perry. But there was a point you like looked up like from like your phone or something, and I was just like, whoa, that looked like the the album cover.
Yeah. Well, I take that as a compliment.
You should. It is. It's absolutely a compliment. So good time zone, y'all. Like I said, feel free to use my raid emotes, your own raid emotes, anybody's raid emotes. All we ask is that you let them know that Super Trav and Tabby sent you. There it is one more time. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.